College football is built around having explosive and dynamic offenses that can put up points on anyone. And the best offenses of all time have the perfect blend of a lights out star quarterback, a dynamic number one wideout, and a dangerous, electrifying running back. And in college football, it all starts with the recruiting process where all the best teams in the country will fight tooth and nail to create the best recruiting class possible. So I wanted to put 24 of the greatest college football QBs, running backs, and wide receivers we have seen over the last 30 years and put them all into one recruiting class. We will watch the recruiting process and see where each one of the blue chip prospects ends up. Then we will sim through their 4 years of college. We will track their progress over their careers. We will watch some games live and see the stars match up. I made each of them an 88 overall while still trying to make their ratings match up with their real life counterparts so their play style will be as similar as possible. And all of this will happen in the Ncaa Revamped Mod.
All right, guys, here we go. Now, this one is going to be absolutely wild. So if you followed this, what I've been doing in this series, I've been doing like top position group recruiting classes. I've done QBs, running backs, and wide receivers, but now I'm going to combine them into one. Now, there's one thing that I didn't know until I literally already made the rosters once and I had to remake it also. The max recruits you can make is about 24. I made 24. That seemed to be it. So I'm only doing the top 8 from each of those 3 positions. That is the max I can do, but I think this is going to be really cool. And I'm really hoping we get some of these guys all signing at the same school. So I hope we get, a QB, 2 receivers, and 1 running back of our top 8 at each position, all at Georgia or something. I think it'd be really cool if we can see multiple of these guys at the same school at the same time, create just the best recruiting class ever and just like a new dynasty. So keep in mind, guys, that's a reason why there is less people. I can only do 24 players. So that is why. So it's gonna be top 8 from each, top receiver, QB, and running back. And if this is your first time watching these, basically what we do, I make all the recruits. They're all 88 overall. I put them in. I control Air Force. I don't recruit. I don't do anything. I just sim through and we just watch what happens. We track the first year when they're in high school and we just see where they are going to sign. Then we track through the recruiting process. Then we start, really looking at stats, looking at how they do. And we're just going to go through their 4-year college career. We're also going to hop in some games, watch some games, especially with QBs. It's good to watch the games, I find. But yeah, so that is kind of the idea. We're going to go through 4 years of when they're all in school. At the end, we'll look at their career stats. We'll look at what round they get drafted. So once they declare, you can actually see what round they're drafted in the NFL. So we'll see who lives up to the recruiting hype and who doesn't. All right, so we're just going to hop right in. And so we're just going to look at QBs first. So 8 top QBs, the number 1 quarterback in this ranking. Now, remember, I made them all 88 overall, but I did try to Vince Young's fast. So I gave him good speed, good arm, whatever. I try to make it, realistic to how good they actually were. So Vince Young, and we can actually click in and we can look at more info and we can see what schools they are really, gearing towards, looking like they might sign with. And his number 1, Texas fans are not going to love this, is A&M, Tennessee, Arkansas, Georgia. Then we go to Michael Vick and he's Duke, A&M, Virginia, SC, Clemson, the U. Okay. We go to Cam Newton and he might stay home in Georgia. He's from Atlanta, go to the Bulldogs, or Bama, Florida, Auburn. So honestly, pretty realistic to where he could have ended up a lot of the time in real life. Then we have Trevor Lawrence, one of the best recruits of all time. Michigan, Bama are neck and neck. Then Georgia, Penn State, Clemson. Then Joe Burrow from Ohio. I tried to get everyone from the right city, right state. I have screwed that up a few times in the past. I got about 1,000 comments from Ricky Williams is from San Diego, not from Texas, and I just screwed that up. So I tried to get everyone right. Burrow's Bama, Notre Dame, Michigan, Nebraska. He's got a lot of guys in the running. Lamar Jackson, Florida, Bama, Georgia, Ole Miss. And this is the first time I've ever included Peyton Manning, guys. So Peyton Manning, drop back quarterback, A&M, Tennessee still, which would be cool, Auburn, Florida. So 3 of these guys, A&M is right at the top of their list. Then lastly, we have Timmy Tebow. We got Bama, Notre Dame, LSU, Georgia, Florida State. So this will be interesting. Obviously, we want all the QBs to go to different schools so they're not going to compete against each other. But I'm hoping running back, receiver, you get at least one of each going to a few schools. Then we could just look at some new powerhouses. So I think that would be really, really cool. Okay, now we have Reggie Bush, who they're ranking as the #1 running back. Notre Dame, Vanderbilt, Northwestern Virginia, Duke. Those are some interesting options. He's from California. Then we have another Cali guy, Ricky Williams, SC, Cal, Nebraska, Texas, Bama. This is the first time I've included LaDainian Tomlinson as well. So Bama, SC, Ohio State, Georgia, Notre Dame, Texas, Saquon, Texas, SC, LSU, Miami, AP, Alabama, LSU, Florida. So all kind of those South teams. Barry Sanders, Alabama. So Alabama's in the running for a ton of these running backs. Bo Jackson's #1 is Notre Dame. So Notre Dame's #1 has Bo. Imagine if Bo Jackson and Reggie Bush were the backfield for Notre Dame. Then Herschel Walker, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State. So those are the top 8 running backs I chose. Obviously, guys, there's so many good running backs. You could swap any of those out for any other guy and it would make sense. But those are just like 8 of the guys I think would be really cool to see. Obviously, I'll get some comments saying you should have had this guy. There's so many guys, right? Okay, then we have receivers. Tavon Austin staying home at Maryland possibly, or Penn State, Pitt, Ball Tech. It's cool to see them go to smaller schools, but I want to see some of these guys clumped up at the same school. So that's the only thing with that. Then we have Jerry Rice, Bama and Georgia, then Michigan, Notre Dame. Notre Dame's in on a lot of these guys. Julio might stay home at Bama, Georgia, Clemson, Miami. Percy, Lord have mercy, it's Percy, Michigan, Georgia, Bama, Clemson, Calvin Johnson, Bama. So if they got Calvin Johnson and Julio and Randy Moss, oh my gosh. Bama is in the running for some dogs. And then Jamar Chase is LSU, Bama, Georgia. Then we have Peter Warrick. Peter Warrick loves his home at Florida State. Bama. Oh, Bama, if they could pull some of this off, could have the greatest recruiting class of all time. They're in the running high on a few of these running backs. LT, Barry, Adrian Peterson, and then I think they had at least one of the QBs as well. Let's see. Yeah, and Joe Burrow. So Bama seems, obviously it's very early. This is going to change a ton, but that is kind of where everyone is leaning so far. Obviously, we're going to be cheering for a lot of these guys to end up at the same school. That's like my #1 kind of goal. I want to see some crazy powerhouse, but there it is. So now basically what we're going to do is I'm just going to sim through this first season. They're all going to finish up their high school careers. Every 6 weeks or so, we'll just kind of go back to recruiting, see where everybody is kind of leaning, and then, you know, National Signing Day, we'll see where everybody goes final, and then we'll start next season and we'll actually start tracking them and seeing how they're all doing, see who teamed up, who's really, you know, living up to expectations. All right, so we're in about week 6 or 7 here. We're going to hop back in recruiting. We're just going to kind of take a look and see where each one of these guys is leaning. We'll start with QB. So Vince Young, really looking like A&M is going to be the spot he will end up, or kind of just a lower school. So I'm kind of hoping he ends up at A&M. Oh gosh. Then Michael Vick looks like he's gonna be at A&M. If I have too many quarterbacks sign at one spot, I might have to restart. Okay, Georgia fans are gonna love that. Cam Newton, the Georgia boy, stays home. Trevor Lawrence is looking like he's gonna be a Michigan man. Joe Burrow, all of a sudden Notre Dame, Pitt, Nebraska. Okay. Lamar is looking like Ole Miss, Mississippi State, or Florida. Peyton Manning at Tennessee or Vandy, and then maybe Auburn. Wow. Timmy Tebow looking like Florida State. Wow, there we go. Okay, so I'm a little worried about the 2 boys at the top going to A&M, but other than that, we look all right. Okay, Reggie Bush looking like Notre Dame. I hope he doesn't go to Northwestern. No offense if you're a Northwestern guy in the chat, but then we got Ricky is looking like he's going to end up at SC. LT is looking like SC. Okay. We're going to have a good backfield there. Saquon looking like Texas. AP looking like LSU. I actually like that fit. Barry looking like Florida almost 100%. And Bo Jackson might go to South Alabama or Oklahoma. And then lastly, we have Herschel Walker at Georgia. If Georgia ends up with Herschel Walker and Cam Newton, I think Georgia fans will lose their minds. Okay, then we're going to wide receivers. Tavon looking like Penn State. Jerry Rice looking like Michigan. Who's the quarterback? Was it Joe Burrow who might go to Michigan? That would be a pretty deadly combo. Julio looks like he's like locked in at Bama. Percy Harvin is going to Michigan. Okay, Michigan might be the squad. Calvin is looking like Alabama. We could get Calvin Johnson and Julio Jones at Alabama. We could get Saquon and Randy Moss at Texas. Jamar Chase is going to LSU, and I think AP was going to go there. Peter Warrick's going to Florida State, and I think that's where Tebow was going to go. There's a few guys going to some random schools, but we could get Jerry Rice, Percy Harvin getting, I think it was Burrow, right? With Trevor Lawrence. Okay, I don't think they were in on any of the running backs, but wow, that is wild. Okay, some of those are very interesting. Okay, we are gonna sim a little bit further here and then we'll see where we're at. All right, so we're here about week 13 now. We could see some movement. We'll probably see some more guys locked in though at certain spots. So Vince Young looking like A&M. Vic goes somewhere else. Vic is looking like A&M too. Oh, I really don't want them to go to the same spot. Cam is locked in. Trevor Lawrence ends up at Clemson. Burrow's looking like Pitt. Lamar is locked in at Florida. We have Peyton, Auburn, or Vandy, it's looking like. Tebow is locked in at Florida State. And okay, that is all our guys. Okay, then if we go running backs, we got Reggie Bush, Fresno State or Utah State. So not a big school. Ricky all of a sudden now is going to Cal or maybe Texas. All of a sudden, LT is looking like Georgia or SC, but I think Herschel Walker's already at Georgia. Saquon's either going to go to LSU or Rutgers, but AP is already going to LSU, it looks like. Barry is at Florida, and I think Lamar was at Florida. Bo is looking like he's going to South Alabama, which, okay. And then Herschel is going to Georgia. All right, a little bit of surprises there. Okay, if we go, Tavon is looking like Pitt or Penn State or Maryland. Jerry is locked in at Michigan. Julio now all of a sudden, no, not even close, Bama. He's going to Georgia, it looks like. Percy Harvin is going to Michigan, but they didn't end up getting a quarterback, it doesn't look like. But Calvin stayed at Bama. Randy's going to Texas. Jamar's locked in at LSU. Peter Warrick's locked in at Florida State. Okay, was Tebow at Florida State? Tebow was at Florida State. That's a pretty good duo. All right, so now we're just going to sim to National Signing Day, and we're just going to see where all these guys end up. All right, so here we're at the final stretch of recruiting. Almost everyone should be signed by now, or we should basically know exactly where they're going. Okay, so all of a sudden Vince Young isn't gonna go to A&M, but he's gonna go to Indiana, it looks like. Indiana is getting Vince Young. Michael Vick is gonna get to A&M. At least they're not going to the same school. Cam locked in at Georgia. Trevor locked in at Clemson. Burrow is looking like he's going to be a Pitt Panther, maybe Kentucky. Lamar locked in at Florida. Peyton, Tennessee. This is going down to the wire, so we're going to have to go to National Signing Day for, I guess, a few of these guys. Reggie looking like Northwestern, Fresno State. Ricky now all of a sudden back to SC. It's looking like LT. So we're going to get LT and Ricky at SC. Saquon going to Texas. AP looking like Georgia or LSU. Barry locked in at Florida. Bo is going to South Alabama. Herschel is going to Georgia. So we might get AP and Herschel at Georgia with Cam Newton, and LT and Ricky at SC. I did want guys on the same team, but not from the same position necessarily. But okay, then we go to receivers. Tavon looking like Penn State. I don't hate that fit. Jerry, we know, is a Michigan man. Julio, we already... Okay, so Georgia could get Julio, Cam. No, they already got Julio and Cam and Herschel Walker, and they might get AP also. So Georgia is coming out of here looking like absolute just behemoths. If Jerry and Percy have a QB at Michigan, they are going to be made men. Calvin is going to Bama. Randy is going to Texas. Jamar, LSU. Peter Warrick, Florida State. So we knew those guys. Wow. So a few guys going to little schools, but for the most part, it's somewhat bigger. Okay, we're going to go to National Signing Day and just lock all these dudes in. Okay, National Signing Day. I should have just went here originally, but one more time just to get everybody's locked in. So Vince, Indiana. A&M we knew. Georgia we knew. Joe. Yeah, so all these guys kind of... where was Peyton? Peyton went to Auburn. He spurred Tennessee down to the wire, but he's not going to have any of our other guys joining him. Reggie, Fresno. Ricky and LT at USC. Saquon at Texas. AP at LSU. Okay, so that's good. So he didn't end up at Georgia. They didn't need him and Herschel. Florida for Barry. Yeah, there we go. So all those guys we knew. And lastly, we have our wide receivers. Tavon, Jerry, Georgia, Michigan, okay, Bama, Texas, LSU. Okay, so we knew all those. Wow, there it is pretty wild. So the only team that gets one from each is Georgia. So they got to be the winner for sure. Julio, Herschel Walker, and Cam Newton. Crazy. So that is the team we're going to be keeping the closest eye on. But hey, we got a lot of guys everywhere. It is going to be cool. We're going to get to see matchups. Some guys are going to be on their own. Some of them are going to be teamed up duos. It is going to be cool to see. So now we're just going to sim to the start of season 1. Actually, right when we get to season 1, we're going to see where they all sit on the depth chart, see if they have a chance to play right away, who's going to be sitting for a while, everything like that. All right, so here we are at the start of year 1. This is actually a few days in between when I was recording the first bit of the recruiting process till now. So you'll see I kind of lost my voice over the last few days, so it's going to sound a little bit different, but we are going to push through. Now, start of year 1, basically the first thing we want to do is we want to go and look at each of the schools, and we are going to see where our recruits are on kind of the depth chart, if they have a chance of playing in year 1. If they don't, then we're going to sim to about the midway point of the season. We're going to look at their stats through the first 8 games. Then into the second half of the season, we're going to see if we can get into a game and watch one, try to find one where we have, multiple players playing in the game. So that's kind of how this first season is going to go. Then we'll go to bowl season. We're going to look at who was all freshmen, All-Americans, who, made bowl games. If any of our guys are playing in bowl games against each other, we'll definitely try to watch that as well. So we're starting with Alabama and the GOAT Calvin Johnson. Now, he's actually pretty far down the depth chart. Could possibly be the 4th receiver on the team this year. So really isn't going to play a ton. So we're not going to worry about him really. We're not going to have to really track his stats or anything this first season. Then we're going to go to Auburn, and we have Peyton Manning, who's going to be a freshman starter for the Tigers. So that is going to be super interesting. Peyton's going to be playing from day 1, ready to sling it. So there we go. Okay. Then we're going to go down to Trevor Lawrence at Clemson is going to be our next man up. And he is starting. Freshman, go back to his, alma mater, starting over Cade Klubnik. So there we go. T. Lawrence back in Clemson. Okay, then we're going to go to Florida. Now, this is the first school with multiple of our guys. So first we have Lamar Jackson, who is a freshman starter over Jack Miller. So that is super interesting. So we're already 3 freshmen starting QBs. Then if we go to running back, it looks like he's going to be splitting time with the junior Montrell Johnson. We have Barry Sanders. So the fact we're even getting all, this many guys playing so far, the only one who doesn't look like he's going to play a ton is Calvin Johnson at Bama. Then we're going to go down to Florida State, and we once again have 2 players. We have at QB Tim Tebow, who is not the starter, but Jordan Travis is a senior. So next year, Tim Tebow should easily be the starting quarterback. Then wide receiver, we have Peter Warwick, who's coming in at their number 2 option. So we'll definitely track him. Should get some run in there. And Peter Warwick and Tim Tebow at Florida State. Okay, then we have our first kind of smaller school, guy who didn't really go to one of the big blue bloods, and we have Reggie Bush at Fresno State. Obviously, yeah, he is going to be the starter. He might be the best player on the team. Yeah, he's the best player on the team as a true freshman. So yeah, Reggie's going to put up some numbers over his 4 years, I think. Okay, then we go to Georgia. Now, Georgia is the only school to sign 3 of our players. So they came out like absolute gangbusters. First, we have a QB, and we have Cam Newton as the starting quarterback as a true freshman. They made him number 25. I don't usually change the numbers, but I can. Come on, a QB. Oh my God, they have no single digit. All right, well, eventually I might have to change his number. Okay, I made Cam Newton number 12. Come on, number 25 QB. But anyway, Cam Newton is the starting quarterback as a true freshman. So we're getting really lucky with our QBs getting early playing time. If we go look at running backs, Herschel Walker is actually the 3rd string back, but both guys ahead of him are seniors, so he should have the full backfield next year. Then if we go to wide receiver, we have McConkey, then Julio Jones is their number 2 wide receiver. So they got Cam and Julio starting, and Herschel is the number 3 running back. Absolutely wild. Okay, then the next kind of big guy to go to a smaller school, we have Indiana and Vince Young. Now, he is the starting quarterback, bar none. Once again, might be is the best player on the team. So he is going to put up some absolutely gaudy stats, even though, not at a great football school. Okay, next we have LSU, and once again, LSU does have 2 of our players. they have running back Adrian Peterson, who's actually the number 2 back, but Noah Kane is a senior. So by next year, AP should have the full backfield. And then Jamar Chase did go back to his alma mater and is the number 2 wide receiver. Terrace Marshall. Okay, this is actually from a different roster. So actually, this guy is not even supposed to be there. He's in the NFL. So we are going to get rid of him. This is when I did my LSU rebuild thing. So actually, Jamar Chase is going to be the number 1 wide receiver on this team. So there it is. Number 1 wide receiver, Jamar Chase. Let's go. Then we go to Michigan. Now, Michigan had 2 of our wide receivers. So they had Percy and Jerry Rice, who are clocking in at the number 3. Kind of there, it looked like they could be splitting the number 3 wide receiver role. But Henning and Wilson are seniors next year. So Jerry and Percy should just step right in next year. Okay, then we go down to Pitt. Pitt Panthers, Joe Burrow is the starting quarterback. So these young QBs I think they're all starters as of right now that we've looked at. So that is actually crazy. Go to Penn State and we have the legend Tavon Austin, who is their number 1 wide receiver, 97 speed, absolute freak show. Then we have South Alabama. So we had 3 guys really go to smaller schools. Wow, they actually had a pretty good other running back, but Bo Jackson is the starter. Probably, yeah, once again, the best player on the team. So we have 3 guys who kind of went to small schools. They're going to step right in, be the number 1 option the second they step on campus. Okay, we go down to Texas. Texas had 2 of our guys. First, Saquon Barkley, who it's either going to be him or Robinson is going to be the starter in the backfield. Then if we go to wide receiver, Worthington, and then Moss is actually going to be their number 3 wide receiver right now, but should see the field, which is dope. Then we're going to go to Texas A&M, and we have Michael freaking Vick, who is starting. So I think every QB is starting, which is actually pretty crazy. Michael Vick starting for the Aggies. Very cool. Then lastly, we have SC and USC. I mean, they've always just had amazing running backs and they are keeping it up. They signed 2 of our 8 running backs. So, and they have Raleek Brown. So they have Raleek Brown, Ricky Williams, LaDainian Tomlinson. So 3 young backs who are all studs. So pretty good young backfield right here. So that is where we sit, guys. That is where everyone kind of is at. Oh, actually, there's 1 QB not starting. Tim Tebow is actually not starting. So we have 7 of 8 as starters, I believe. Okay, before the year starts, I'm going to go look at our scores and schedules, and I'm going to try to find us a game in the second half of the year that we can watch with these teams. Okay, so right here, 10-25, that's like week 8 or something. We have Florida versus Georgia. So that would be Lamar Jackson, I believe, at QB. Yeah, Lamar versus Cam Newton as freshman. That could be pretty cool. Ooh, Michigan LSU, but our guys aren't big starters on that team yet. Okay, so this is what we're going to sim to. We're going to sim to week 9. We're going to look at all the stats of how everyone's doing through those weeks. Then we're going to just hop in super sim and watch some of this Georgia-Florida game. All right, so here we are in about week 9. We're going to look quickly at the top 25, see if any of our guys are around the top. So Calvin Johnson is on Bama, not, I'm assuming, getting a ton of playing time. Michigan, we have a few guys not getting a ton. USC, we have a few guys not getting a ton of run yet, still young. Georgia, so Cam Newton has Georgia 6-1 start. Penn State with Tavon Austin. Florida State, Texas, A&M. So that is kind of where the top 25 is sitting. Let's look at the Heisman. I would be shocked if any of our guys are in the Heisman watch right now, but you never know. They are not. Okay. So now we're going to go quickly look at all their stats through this start of the season. We're going to look at the stats a little bit less this sim just because there's so many guys to look at. So we're going to try to go through it quick. We're just going to go through it once in the middle of the season, once all the games are wrapped up. So that is going to be the plan. Now we have first, Calvin has 12 catches for 181 yards. So decent, but hasn't done a ton. Okay, now we're going to go to Auburn with the man Peyton Manning at the helm. Decent, okay QB rating for a first year player. Not throwing the ball a ton, only 146 yards per game, 13 touchdowns, only 5 picks. Isn't bad for a true freshman. We'll take that from our boy Cam. We go down to Clemson with our guy Trevor Lawrence, and he is hurt. Oh crap, I forgot to turn injuries off. Okay, wow. I'm gonna turn injuries off right now, but unfortunately the injury bug hit our guy. It looked like maybe even week 1. So that is unfortunate. Injuries are now off. So damn. Okay. Trevor Lawrence was the preseason starter, had the run, and he got injured. So that sucks. Okay, now we're going to go down to Florida, and Lamar is the starter, 1,300 yards for 170 a game, pretty much even almost in TD to interception ratio, which obviously isn't ideal. Has under 50% completion percentage. Let's see if he's doing anything on the ground. He has 555 yards on the ground, though 69 per game as a true freshman, 7 more tutties on the ground. So, you know, he's developing as a passer, but this guy can run. Okay, then we have Barry Sanders, 700 yards. So this is a cool team. This is going to be a really cool team to keep track throughout the whole of this sim. You know, Barry and Lamar together, 7 touchdowns a pair, averaging, you know, 87, 69 yards. Let's see if Barry has done anything through the air. Yeah, 1 catch. So nothing there. So Tebow's gotten in a little bit of run in blowouts. Travis looks like he's having actually a phenomenal year. So that's good. Let's see if Peter Warwick. So second leading receiver for Peter Warwick. We will take that for sure. 351 yards, 3 touchdowns. This Johnny Wilson, 14 touchdowns already. Wow. Okay, then we are going to go down to Georgia. Georgia is really going to be the star of this sim with 3 players, including the starting quarterback for 4 years probably. So yeah, Cam is the starter, but it looks like this Brock Vandegrift actually is getting a decent amount of run. Looks like they're almost even like splitting time, which we don't love. Vandegrift has 0 INTs where Cam has 7. He's averaging obviously a lot more yards per game, but I'm assuming Cam is doing stuff on the ground. Yeah, another 243 rushing yards for Cam for an extra 50 a game. So that's pretty big. 4 touchdowns. So, you know, Cam's not just complete control right now, but I mean, he's a true freshman on a 1-loss team. So we will take that. Julio Jones is going to be behind Bowers and McConkey for targets for the next 2 years, which is kind of unfortunate, but I mean, he's still the 3rd leading receiver, 5 touchdowns, 40 yards a game. Really, really good. Oh, actually, let's see if Herschel is actually getting any runs. So Herschel's got 13 carries, 75 yards. So not a ton to start. Okay, now we have our first guy. Oh, I missed actually Reggie. So we have our first guy who went to a smaller school, but like is the best player, Reggie Bush. So by far, obviously leading rusher, only 2 touchdowns, but 76 yards per game. Let's see if they're throwing him the ball too. Wow, they're not. So yeah, they're really not using him as a receiver right now, but hopefully that comes with time because obviously Reggie is a great receiver. Okay, now we have Indiana, another, you know, where we have one guy just running the show who probably should have went to a different school, but it is what it is. And we have Vince Young, 1,300 yards, 8 touchdowns, almost 200 a game, true freshman. I'm sure he's running the rock too. Another 400 yards rushing with 6 touchdowns for 60 yards a game. So he's just going to be an absolute killer at Indiana. Then we go down to LSU. We got AP really taking over the backfield. I was worried Noah Cain. So Noah Cain got hurt. So that is why. So that opened the door for AP, and he is putting in work, 84 yards per game. Perfect. Then if we look at receiving yards, we have Jamar Chase with 141. So not an amazing start. I don't know who their QB is, Neusmeyer. So we'll have to see. Jamar, the thing with receivers, obviously it can be so dependent on QB play, you know, how much run they're actually going to get. Okay, if we go to Michigan, we have 2 receivers here, and they have really not done anything. Jerry Rice actually got hurt, unfortunately, and then Percy has 5 catches for 65 yards. But we should be on the lookout for those 2 to have a really good year too. Okay, then we go down to Pitt, and we have Joe Burrow. And Burrow, 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, 4 INTs. Actually it looks like he has a bit of rushing yards too. I gave him like decent speed. Burrow's actually like a low-key pretty decent runner. So another 250 on the ground as well for Joe. Okay, then we have Penn State, and this is our man Tavon Austin. Almost 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, by far the #1 receiver on the team, 60 yards per game. We will take that as a true freshman. Okay, then we have South Alabama, and our man Bo Jackson, who has 525 yards on 79 carries, only 3 touchdowns, 6.6 yards per carry though, over 100 per game. So I mean, yeah, we knew that was going to be a smash. Not using him at all as a receiver out of the backfield, but there we go. Okay, then we're going to go down to Texas. So receiving wise, we have Randy Moss, who's not getting a ton of run right now. They have some good receivers ahead of him, but 111 yards. It's early into year one. He's getting 22 yards a game. Then we have Saquon Barkley right here. So he is the backup running back and he got injured. So not the best freshman year, but it looks like when he's on the field, he's performing well, 70 yards per game. So can't get too mad at that. Then we have A&M where Michael Vick is the starting quarterback. 962 yards, 11 touchdowns, 4 picks for 160 a game. True freshman, not bad, but he's also 94 carries, 350 yards, 58 a game rushing the ball as well. So obviously he is going to make a ton of hay on the ground. Then lastly, we have USC. So we have Raleek Brown, Ricky Williams, and then LT is getting a little bit. So it looks like Raleek and Ricky are basically just splitting time right there. And then, LT is on the outside looking in. So that is it, guys. That is all of our stats for these players. So that's where they all kind of sit. Now I want to hop in. So we have a pretty sick matchup here. We have Florida versus Georgia. We have Cam Newton as the starting quarterback against Lamar Jackson. We also have Julio Jones, Herschel Walker out there, and Barry Sanders. So this is about as good as it can get that we can get matched up early. So let us see. So that's kind of their overalls. And let's just check this out. All right. So we're just going to super sim through the first quarter and then we'll see where we sit. Wow. This is actually a 12-0 start for Florida against a 1-loss Georgia team. So we're just going to sim through this quarter. We'll get to the second half and then we'll see. But okay, so Georgia was able to score there. Wow, 26-14 for Florida. Georgia has a bit of a drive going here. We actually might hop in here. Okay, Georgia is inside the 10-yard line and we got some glitches going on. All right, guys, so I don't know what's going on. I've never had these glitches happen. This is an older game. Some weird things are going to happen. So usually I'll try to hop in, but I've tried to hop in twice now and there's weird penalties and stuff. So I think I'm just going to sim to the end of this game, but we definitely will try to hop in another game here in a bit. Wow, Georgia is, big answer back, 34-26. They were down big. But then Florida, it got really fast there, but Georgia is just able to pull that one out. That is crazy. Back and forth, 32-37. Lamar had a really good day throwing the ball for a freshman. 245 yards, 3 touchdowns against that Georgia defense. He had 21 on the ground, but Barry, 159 on the ground and a tutty. Then if we look at Georgia, Cam had 7 on the ground, but he passed for 322 and a touchdown as well. Let's see, did Julio do anything? Julio had 2 catches for 44 yards. So I don't know what is going on there. As far as those weird glitches, that has never happened when I've tried to hop in a game before. So hopefully that doesn't happen later on, but we definitely will try to get in another game here. Okay, so now we are basically just going to sim to conference championship weekend. We'll see if any of our teams made some conference championship games, see where everyone sits, but we're not going to look at the stats till the very end of the year. All right, so here we are at the end of the regular season schedule. We're gonna look at the conference championship games right here, see if any of our guys are in them. So we have Georgia versus Alabama, 2 1-loss teams. Calvin isn't playing really in that game, so I don't know if we're gonna hop into that. That looks pretty dope though. Florida State, but Tebow isn't starting. USC, but our guys aren't really playing as running backs there. But there we go. So none of our guys really in a conference championship game. That Alabama-Georgia one could be pretty good, but I think we'll wait and we'll try to hop into a bowl game. We'll see if any of our guys are matched up. Here's where top 25 sits. So no undefeated teams. So we're going to have 2 1-loss teams in the national final for sure. Okay, so we're just going to sim through conference championship weekend. Then we're going to look at the bowl games. So there is the Heisman. So Caleb Williams, USC wins it. Obviously, freak of nature. Okay, let's go look at bowl season. Okay, so we're just gonna look for our teams here. It's gonna be hard for me to remember everyone off the top of my head just looking at the logos, but okay, so Florida State ends up with 3 losses. Tebow should be the starter next year. So South Alabama actually made a bowl game playing Appalachian State. So Bo putting in work there. Clemson versus A&M. Okay, so that would actually be Trevor Lawrence versus Michael Vick. So actually, if we don't have another one matchup, we're gonna go watch that game right there. Auburn, so 6-6. Peyton did get them to a bowl though, as as a freshman. Michigan, 3 losses, have our 2 guys starting to come in as receivers next year. Notre Dame versus SC in the Rose Bowl. Pitt, so 7-5, Burrow got them to a bowl game. Georgia, 2 losses. That means they actually lost to Bama. Cam lost to Bama in the SEC championship game. Bama, number 3 ranked, 1 loss, playing in the Sugar Bowl with Calvin. Texas, 8-4 with 2 of our guys on that team. Oh, actually, so this would be Tavon Austin versus Saquon and Randy Moss. That's kind of cool, but I think we'll go watch the one with the 2 quarterbacks. Memphis, Ohio. Okay, so Ohio State, Michigan State in the national championship game. I don't know why I call it national final a lot, and I got a comment like, dude, it's not the national final, it's a national championship. I said, dude, I don't even know why I say that. It's just you sit here by yourself and you just talk for hours. Sometimes you just say shit. So we're going to check out this game. Who was it again? It was Clemson, Texas A&M. Yeah. So Texas and A&M, Clemson, 2 of our starting QBs in a bowl game in year 1. We're going to sim through this. Then we'll sim through the rest of the bowls. We'll look at the All-American team, see if any of our guys made that. We'll look at the final stats for the year, and then we'll wrap up season 1. Then we're going to sim through the off season, get to season 2, and then we're going to look at, who's now all the starters, who went up a ton of overalls, who kind of didn't really get that much better going into year 2. So that is going to be huge. So yeah, I'm gonna try to hop in here. I don't know why that last game was getting all glitchy when I hopped in. I'm hoping it's not like that. If it is, I'll like reset my game and stuff in between season 1 and season 2, and should be good to go, I'm assuming, for season 2. So we're just gonna sim through the first quarter and we'll see where we're at. Okay, 7-0 A&M, and they're driving. So let's actually just watch this play. Okay, so it seems to be fine right now. I don't know why that last game had a bit of a glitch going on, but here we go. Michael Vick under center right here, a little bit of an I-form look, trying to score on this Clemson team. Oh no. Okay, so it glitched again. I don't know why, but so we're not gonna, yeah, it's getting weird. That's never happened. So between year 1 and 2, I'm gonna shut everything down, and I'm going to not reset the sim, just reset the game itself, and I'm assuming it should fix it. This has literally never happened. So, but here it is. A&M is kind of putting it on Clemson here, kind of taking him out to the woodshed. Yeah, like really rolled them. So A&M, I mean, Vic at the helm, they've always get good recruiting classes. They should have a shot to be pretty good over the next few years. Okay, let's look at the stats for the game. So Trevor, decent, okay day, 190 yards, but we want to see him improve next year for sure. 11 yards on the ground. Vic had four rushing yards, but he passed for 335 yards and 3 touchdowns. So now we're just going to sim through the rest of the bowl games, guys. Sorry, I don't know why, like I said, that is doing that when I try to hop in games, but nothing I can really do about it at this point, but I will try to remedy that in between the next 2 seasons. Okay, so we're going to sim through the rest of the bowl games to look at the final stats, look at all that stuff. All right, so year is wrapped up. I want to look at the freshman All-American team because we should have a good chance of having quite a few guys on it. So Joe Burrow is actually the freshman All-American starting QB. Ricky Williams starting running back, Tavon Austin and Julio Jones starting receivers. So yeah, we had guys just all over. Basically, we swept everything except the number 2 running back went to Evan Pryor. So that's kind of cool. Our guys performed well, obviously, there. Okay, now we're going to go look at these stats once again. So this will give me their final stats through their freshman year. Starting with Alabama and Calvin Johnson, who had 200 yards. Obviously, year 1, not huge production, but he's at Alabama. They're going to have a good team throughout his career, and by next year, he should be putting up some numbers. Okay, go down to Clemson with our guy, Trevor Lawrence, who had an okay freshman year. I think 1,500 yards, almost 200 a game, which is decent. Klubnik did actually get a bit of run because I think Lawrence did get hurt. Lawrence added another 289 yards, so 36 per game on the ground. So should be in a really good spot to, play well next year. Okay, then we go down to Florida. We have Lamar, 100 QB rating, which is not great. He threw a lot of picks, but 2,100 yards, pretty good. 178 yards per game. I guarantee you, he almost 1,000. 821 yards as a freshman QB. Pretty crazy. 11 touchdowns on the ground as well. Then Barry added 1136, which once again, as a freshman, to almost be at 100 yards per game is very good. Let's see. They didn't really throw Barry Sanders the ball much, but there we go. Next, we have Florida State. Tebow didn't really play, but I mean, Jordan Travis had a great year, 41 touchdowns and only 7 picks, and he is gone next year. So, Tim Tebow should be stepping right in and, having a good shot to put up some good numbers next year. Peter Warrick, as a freshman, 500 yards as the team's second leading receiver, 35 yards per game. Wilson is back next year, but you have Tim Tebow throwing to Warrick and Wilson. That should be pretty freaking deadly. If we look at Fresno State and our boy Reggie Bush, 1,000 yards on the ground as a freshman, 84 yards per game. You like to see it. Let's see if they still haven't thrown him the ball. One of the best receiving running backs of all time. So definitely start letting him, cook in that area of the field. Okay. Then receiving wise, third leading receiver for Julio. He's going to be the third leading receiver probably next year as well. So kind of is what it is there. If we look at Cam added 515 yards, 8 touchdowns on the ground for another 42 yards. Herschel, backup role this year, but by next year should get a ton of playing time, and we'll have all three of these guys just killing it for Georgia. Cam was the starter, got the majority of the work. A few other guys did get in there, but 21 touchdowns, 14 picks. Bring those picks down just a little bit next year, and Cam, you're going to be in a great spot. Next, we have Indiana with Vince Young. Not great QB rating, especially considering the competition. Only 14 touchdowns, 11 picks. Okay, 700 yards on the ground is really good, but as far as throwing the ball, that was just an okay season for Vince Young. Go to LSU. We have Adrian Peterson was the starting running back. Noah Cain will be gone next year, so it is going to be AP show 100%. Only 4 touchdowns, but that is all right. Then we had receiver. We had Jamar Chase, who had 271 yards. Not a amazing freshman year, but what can you do? So you got to get the ball thrown to you. Then if we go to Michigan, same thing. Not a ton of run from Percy or Jerry. 14 and 15 catches, 208 and 189. Each had like 2 to 3 touchdowns. So did get some run, but not a ton. But I know their two starting receivers are gone next year, so they should step right in. Okay, then we have Pitt and Joe Burrow, who I'm assuming put up good numbers because he was the freshman All-American. So let's take a look. 2,500 yards, 24 touchdowns, only 5 picks as a true freshman is kind of crazy, actually. So yeah, really good year for him. 500 yards on the ground as well. I maybe even gave him a little too much speed. That's a ton. So yeah, really good year for Joe Burrow, freshman All-American. That's what you like to see. Okay, then we have Penn State and Tavon Austin, who actually I think also was a freshman All-American. So yeah, 880 yards as a freshman, 13 touchdowns is a ton. 67 per game. Let's see, maybe they hand him the ball a little bit too. No, it doesn't look like it actually, but there you go. So Tavon, really good year for Penn State as a freshman. Then we have South Alabama and our man Bo Jackson. Now, let's see. Doesn't look like they threw him the ball like at all. He did have 1,230 rushing yards, which is huge. 11 touchdowns, 94 per game. So yeah, there you go. They have a good mobile QB as well, who actually is gone next year. But by next year, Bo should just be absolutely killing it there. Then we go down to Texas, and we have Saquon, who is the backup running back this year, but the starter. I mean, if Saquon can step into that type of production next year, he's going to be in a really good spot. But decent year for Saquon, and then I don't think, Randy really didn't do much, but 5 touchdowns. By next year should be, in a pretty big role. Then we have A&M with Michael Vick, who added 731 on the ground, really good. 2,400 yards, 24 touchdowns, 11 picks, 186 a game. That is good. Then we have finally USC and our 2 running backs here. Raleek was the starter, then Ricky Williams was the backup, and LT didn't really get anything, but hopefully Ricky and LT can pass Raleek next year and become the starters. 11 touchdowns for Ricky. Okay, so now I'm going to sim to season 2. We're going to take a look at how much better each of the players got, look at the depth chart, see who's, starters now, who isn't, and all of that. All right, so here we are at the start of season 2. So the first thing I want to do is I want to check and see how much better each of our guys got and see if they're playing time, how it's going to be affected, who's kind of still above them on the depth chart. And wow, Calvin Johnson is still going to be the 3rd receiver. That is a little bit unfortunate. So he went up 4 overall, which is good. But oh, that's too bad he didn't at least get a 93. Would have been one of the starters. So he definitely will get more run this year, but not, you know, all of it for sure. Then if we go down to Auburn, we have our guy Peyton Manning. Let us see how he's looking. He went up to a 94, so he went up 2 more overall than Calvin. Obviously gonna stay the starter. He's gonna start basically forever for Auburn, all 4 years. Kind of just quickly look, good running back. Let's see what his receiver, decent, not great receivers, pretty good tight ends. So, you know, Peyton's gonna run the whole show. He's gonna have full control, and we'll see what he can do. Okay, then over to Trevor Lawrence. I almost known Clarence. Trevor Lawrence at Clemson, and he went up to a 95 as well. So we can kind of see Calvin didn't play as much as first year, didn't improve quite like these other two. Yeah, like that's a huge jump for Trevor. Obviously the starter, good running back, 2 good receivers, 3 good receivers, and 2 good tight ends. So there is no reason Trevor Lawrence shouldn't absolutely have an amazing year this year. Okay, if we go to Florida, we have Lamar. He went up to a 95, so did improve. Still going to be, you know, the overall starter, obviously, basically the whole time he's here. Then they also had Barry Sanders, who luckily did go to a 93. The senior behind him still a 92. Travis Etienne's little brother, I believe, Trevor Etienne, is a 90. So Barry is going to hold on to control of that backfield. You got Lamar and you got Barry Sanders for Florida. That is nasty. Then if we go to Florida State, wow, okay, so they have a good running back. Tim Tebow is going to be the first year starter for them. They had Travis leave last year, so 93 overall starting quarterback, and he's going to be thrown to Wilson Warwick. And we looked at their running back, and they have a 99 overall running back and a 94 and a 90. They're all seniors. Too bad one was an underclassman for them. But okay, so this offense is absolutely fully loaded. A 97 left tackle, really good O-line. Okay, this offense, holy, their right tackle and maybe their tight end is just okay. Other than that, they are completely stocked and fully loaded. Peter Warwick actually didn't go up a ton, but I mean, wow. So I'm expecting a huge year from Florida State and Tim Tebow. Okay, if we go to Fresno State, oh, that's actually above. No, there it is. Obviously, Reggie Bush is going to be their best player. Yeah, by far, 94 overall. Not much else on the team, but Reggie should just be an absolute smash, you know, his whole career at Fresno. Okay, we're going to go to Georgia now. This is with the big 3. So this is the only school with 3 guys on the team. First, Herschel Walker. He is going to be the starter this year. Didn't really play this year, but step in. He's 6'1", 230 pounds, has a 97 overall speed, good break tackle, trucking, all that. So Herschel, smash. Then we had Cam Newton and a 90 backup. So Cam will be the starter, bar none. Yeah, so this is a great spot for him. He's got a really good running back with him. And then if we go to receivers, they bring back McConkey. They still have Julio, who is a really good, freshman All-American last year. And they have Adonai Mitchell. Cam is set up to smash, and they still have Brock Bowers. So the 98 overall tackle, they are absolutely fully loaded, ready to go. This team looks actually scary. So, okay, if we go to Indiana now, once again, this is one of the teams where, yeah, they were going to have Vince Young and their punter, so doesn't really count, are by far their best player. Vince Young, Indiana, doesn't have a ton else on the team, but he's going to come perform and put up stats. Next we have LSU, and we have 2 players on LSU. We have Adrian Peterson, went up to a 93 overall, 6'1", 230, 97 speed, freak of nature. And then if we go wide receivers, they have Jamar Chase, who didn't have a great year last year, but I mean, you have these 2, build your offense around them. Garrett Nussmeier, pretty good, QB. So LSU, I'm in these sims, their offense is never good, even though they do have Adrian Peterson and Jamar, so we will see. Okay, we're going to go down to Michigan. So if you remember last year, Michigan had Percy Harvin and Jerry Rice, but neither of them were starters because they were just, I think they're 4th and 5th on the depth chart. But this year they have JJ McCarthy, a senior 99 overall quarterback. They have a freshman actually who's an 84. So they're going to be in a really good spot to grow from here. And then you have Percy Harvin and Jerry Rice as your two starting receivers. These two should be in for a big year, paired up with a 99 overall QB. I love to see it. Okay, then we're going to go to Pitt Panthers with Joe Burrow. We'll see how much better he got. We'll take a little look, see what his weapons are like. So nothing at wide receiver, a very good running back who's a senior though, so he will be gone, but very, very good. And then Joe Burrow went up to a 92. He was a freshman All-American at Pitt, so doesn't have great weapons. Oh my God, his tight end's a 72, but I'm hoping Joe is kind of able to overcome that and still put on a bit of a show. Okay, then we go down to Penn State with Tavon Austin. He's got a 90 overall QB throwing him the ball. They have a 99 running back and 2 90s. So, and then Tavon was their number 1 receiver last year, and he is this year. Maybe he was their number 2, but either way, he was a freshman All-American, 97 speed, small, but lightning in a bottle. Okay, then we have Bo Jackson at South Alabama. This is our 3rd player who's kind of just on a not great team, but, freak of nature. Obviously, Bo might be the best athlete football has ever seen. So 93 speed, he's 230 pounds, break, tackle, truck. Obviously, to make them all 88 overalls to start out when they're getting recruiting, I have to drop some of their stats so they can still have good speed and stuff. So his juking and stuff isn't insane, but that'll get better as he gets older. Then we go to Texas. They have 2 guys. They have Quinn Ewers back at QB, Vince Card, and young Malik Murphy. So should have good QB play over the next 3 years. Saquon Barkley went up to a 94 overall. Full on, starting running back this year. And then they have this offense is loaded too. Xavier Worthy, Randy Moss, Casey Kane. Look at these 2 together, 96 speed, 98 speed. And then you throw Saquon in there as well. That is some scary stuff. Okay, and then we go to Texas A&M. This is with Vic. So good running back. Decent weapons to throw to. Evan Stewart, Joel Andrews, Noah Thomas, decent. And then if we look at QB, wow, Vic went up to a 95. I think him and Trevor Lawrence were the only one. I might have missed someone, but 95, that's a huge jump. 98 speed. I gave him a great arm. Obviously his throw accuracy is going to have to improve with time, but he's got 99 throw power and 98 speed. So yeah, Michael Vick should be pretty scary. And then we're wrapping it up at USC. So they are still going to have Caleb Williams for his senior year, and then next year they'll have Miller Moss. But they have a stable of running backs, and at the front we have LaDainian Tomlinson and Ricky Williams. So LaDainian actually got a 1 overall higher this year than Ricky. Then they also have Raleek Brown, who's a 91 overall. So between these 3 guys, I mean, you have a ton of just athleticism, speed, whatever, but the 1-2 punch of LT and Ricky Williams is pretty scary. So basically everyone, Calvin Johnson actually, I think at Bama is probably the one who looks like he's going to get the least playing time this year, which kind of sucks because Calvin frickin' Johnson at Alabama sounds actually insane. But that's how it goes, I guess. Okay, I'm going to quickly look at the schedules before the season starts. I'm going to kind of find us a sim point. Then we're going to sim to about week 7 or 8, and we're going to look at the stats and see where everyone is at. Actually, I quickly want to look at the Heisman watch. So Caleb Williams, just see if any of our guys are in there. Also, preseason All-Americans. Maybe some of our guys are going to be preseason All-Americans, non-first team. None second team, so nothing there actually. And let's quickly look at the top 25. So Ohio State, Bama with Calvin, Georgia right there. SC has some of our guys. Michigan has some of our guys. Florida State. I wonder when Florida State, Florida play. Maybe we'll do it. We'll save it for the very end of the year. Or yeah, Georgia, Alabama is probably really late too, if they even play in the regular season now. All right, so I'm just gonna sim to about week 8, week 9. We should be able to find a good game later in the year, so I don't think we'll have an issue there. Alrighty, let's look at the top 25, see where all our guys are at. So USC undefeated right now, 7-0. Bama undefeated, 8-0. Ohio State, actually, we actually don't have anyone Ohio State. Florida, 7-0. Wow, Penn State with Tavon. Okay, Florida State 5-1, so they have lost a game, but I'm excited to watch Florida. Oh, Georgia 6-1. So we have just a ton of teams super highly ranked, off to really good starts this year. Let's look at the Heisman watch. Maybe one of our guys is having a crazy start to his sophomore year. Nope. Penn State QB, though, that should mean Tavon Austin is off to a good start. Bama running back, Arkansas, East Carolina, OU. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so let's just look at the stats. This will be the only time we look at the stats this year until the very end. So this is kind of the midway point. Start with Alabama and our man Calvin. Okay, so he's actually the leading receiver yards wide, second in reception. So that is awesome. I was worried he wasn't going to get as much run this year. Not insane amount of yards, but 76 a game as a sophomore, 17.4. 6 touchdowns. Okay, that is good. I love to see that for my boy Calvin. Okay, then we're going to go down to Auburn with the man, the myth, the legend, Peyton Manning. Does not look like these guys are throwing the ball much. 163 QB rating is good. 20 touchdowns, only 3 picks, 260 a game. So they're not letting him throw the ball a ton, but when he is, you know, picking people apart. So that is dope. Good start there. Okay, Trevor Lawrence. Clemson is pretty loaded on offense, but once again, doesn't look like they're letting him throw the ball a ton. 153 QB rating, 14.4. Yeah, 250 a game. We want to see that up in like the 350 range. Okay, Florida and Lamar. Not as good as a QB rating as the other two. 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns, only 1 pick, so just under 2 a game. And then if we look at rushing yards, we have Barry Sanders, of course, and then Lamar is adding 264, so another 37 rushing yards a game. So looks like Barry is splitting time a little bit with this Montrell. So, you know, not getting an insane amount of run, but 77 yards per game, you'll take that. And that's just a dynamic backfield if you ever had one. Okay, Florida State, I'm excited to see this. So Tebow's adding 300 on the ground. So that's almost 50 a game and 4 touchdowns. Good to see. And then he's got a 150 QB rating, 1,300, 15 and 5. So just under 300 yards a game. Yeah. Great start for Tebow. We're also going to look at their receivers. So this Wilson is getting, you know, he's their number 1 target. Then Peter Warrick and their tight end are kind of battling it out for number 2. Would have liked to see Warrick get more runs so far. I mean, I think, yeah. So Johnny Wilson is gone after this year. So it'll be kind of Tebow and Warrick together. But, you know, still second, third leading receiver. So decent. Then if we go to Fresno State, Reggie, they are still not throwing Reggie the ball, which is a huge mistake. They are toting the rock with him quite a bit. 637, over 100 yards per game, but I would like to see them let him run the football. Okay, Georgia, the Bulldogs, there we go. Okay, so we know these guys are going to run their shit out of the ball. Run it, run it, run it. Cam Newton, 374 yards a game, or total yards, over 50 a game, over 108 for Herschel, you know, 5.9 yards per carry, 8 touchdowns. Then if you look at Cam passing, another 1,200 yards, 17 touchdowns, 5 INTs, a 175 a game. You will take that every day of the week. Julio is their third receiver right now, you know. They have McConkey and Bowers who are going to get the most of the targets, but then next year you're just going to have Julio step in for those two and be an absolute freak show. So good, decent start for Julio. I mean, all things considered, this is just such a run-heavy offense. That's the only thing with this Julio situation is he's never really probably going to get those insane amount of targets, but we will see. Okay. We go to Indiana and we have our guy Vince Young in the house. Ooh, 98 QB rating, under 1,000 yards, more INTs than TDs. Okay, under 50% completion percentage. He's ran it really well. 500 yards, 4 touchdowns for 85 a game. So he is killing you with his legs, but his passing has just been kind of so far. So, I mean, hopefully he can get, you know, going a little better than that. Okay, if we go to LSU, we have AP, 828 yards. Wow, okay, 118 a game. I think that's the most I've seen out of any of our guys. So they are just toting the rock. So I'm going to guess Jamar isn't great right now. Yeah. 273, 2 touchdowns, 40 a game. I think this is going to end up being a very run-heavy offense with Adrian Peterson, and Jamar is going to be a bit more of a just kind of decoy on the outside. But maybe at some point that could change. Okay, Michigan. Now this will be interesting. Okay. So Percy Harvin has 100 yards. 18 yards per game. Jerry Rice is their number one receiver, but only at 288. So I am guessing they are about basically running the ball with this Stokes and Dunlap almost every play. Yeah, these guys are, they're averaging like 200 rush yards a game as a team. They're just not letting JJ throw. Only 180 passing yards a game. That is disappointing. I was really hoping those two were going to, have a big year, but this is a bit more of a run heavy scheme. So it does kind of make sense. Okay, if we go to Pitt, Joe Burrow, 1,300 yards, 12, okay. He does not have, adding 267 on the ground, he does not have those really good weapons, and I think, that is going to hurt him. His two best receivers are 81s overall, so doesn't have the best weapons at Pitt. Okay, if we go Penn State, I have a feeling Tavon, because this guy's the leading Heisman Trophy leader right now, almost 300 passing yards a game. So I have a feeling Tavon is going to be in a great spot. 567, easily number one, 10 touchdowns, 17 yards per reception, 80 yards per game. So as a sophomore, that is very, very good. Okay, South Alabama with our man Bo. Bo knows almost nothing through the air. And good on the ground, 6.8 yards per carry is very good. Over 100 yards per game. I would like to see just give the ball to Bo every play, but that's decent. Okay, Texas, they were pretty loaded too. So Saquon, 619 on the ground, 5 touchdowns, over 100 yards per game. We'll take that. Quinn Ewers, 258. So Randy should be doing well. Oh, 4th leading receiver on the team. Looks like this Casey Kane just is getting a little bit more opportunities, and the tight end there just going to an absolute ton. I guess he is a 95 overall, but so yeah, Randy's kind of 3rd, 4th on the depth chart here, so not getting quite as much run. But by next year, both the other two guys are gone. It'll be basically him and Kane getting everything. Okay, A&M, this is going to be interesting. Vic, 115 QB rating is just okay. 12 picks isn't great. I'm assuming this guy's running for okay, 360. I thought it might be more like 5. So another 45 yards a game. Not the best year from Vic so far, but pretty good. Okay, go to SC. Raleek Brown is still the starter, and Ricky has 72 yards. LT is 468, which is good in a backup role, but Raleek is getting a lion's share of the work there, which is annoying. All right, so there we go. Okay, now I'm gonna look for a game here in the second half of the season that we can hop in and watch. Last week of the regular season, we have Florida versus Florida State. That'll be Lamar versus Tebow. One team's at 0 losses, one team's at 1 loss, and then right after that is conference championship weekend. So we're gonna sim to that. Okay, so we're gonna go look at the top 25, but I thought the Florida State game, Florida was week 15, but it was week 14, so we missed that. Here's what the top 25 looks like. Bama, North Carolina, and Memphis undefeated. SC, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Toledo, Florida State with 2 losses, Georgia with 2 losses, Florida with 3 losses. Okay, there's Auburn with 3 losses as well. So we're going to sim to conference championship weekend. We should have, we could have a Bama, Georgia, which I definitely will hop in and look at. All right, so here we are, conference championship weekend. Georgia, Bama. Yeah, so we're definitely watching that. Yeah, and that's our only matchup. Florida, North Carolina's undefeated. It would have been cool if it was Florida State, Clemson. But yeah, Georgia, Bama, let's hop in. Looks like Bama's the favorite, but we got 3 of our guys on Bama, so let's see what happens. Here's where they sit numbers-wise. So Bama's offense was quite a bit better, and their defenses were almost identical. So interesting for sure. Let's hop in. There's our boy Cam. Okay, so we're going to sim through the first quarter, and we'll look where the stats are sitting. Okay, so we have a 14-7 Bama lead. We're going to go to halftime, and then we'll start watching in the second half at some point. Unless it's a blowout. My goodness, 28-10. I'm going to go next change of possession here. 35-10. Georgia is getting blown out. This actually could be a drive here. Maybe we'll go watch. Okay, we're going to hop in here. So start of the fourth quarter. I did make it 7-minute quarters here. Georgia really needs to score here. Our boy is under center, Cam Newton. He's got Herschel in the backfield who he hands it off. Oh my. Herschel is truck sticking, fools, but it is 3rd and goal now. A field goal really doesn't do you much. I mean, it's a little bit, but I think they're going to go for this here. Luckily, our sim is looking like it's fine now. I don't know why that last one got a little glitchy, but not sure. Julio might be number 85 at the top of the screen there. Brocker's going in motion. Cam and Herschel in the backfield. Cam drops back. He's got a screen to Herschel Walker. Oh, Herschel had to cut that back inside. That is going to be 4th and goal from like the 8-yard line maybe. So don't think they're going to go for that. Oh, they did go for it and they got stuffed. So that is not looking good. And yeah, okay. Bama just went back down and scored. We're going to hop right in here. Late in the 4th quarter, we can just see a little bit more of this. But yeah, that is going to do that there. We'll definitely hop into another bowl game or something here. But yeah, Bama looks like the class of college football right now. They're going to be undefeated. Go to the national championship. Cam takes a delay a game there. I don't know why. Oh, it's a false start. Okay, we got 5 wide. Let's see what you can do, Cameron. Oh, he's got Julio at the top. Nope. Going to the end zone. Oh my goodness. Should have been picked off. Cam's got almost 400 passing yards, but only 2 touchdowns. Okay, going for it again. Trips wide. It looks like Julio's the outside receiver at the back there. Oh yeah, that's Julio right there. Oh, Julio down to the 1-yard line. A little tunnel screen to the guy. I mean, this young trio, it's unfortunate they lose this game for them, but I mean, this young trio, Cam, Julio, Herschel Walker, going to be there at least next year, hopefully the year after, is going to be absolutely scary. I haven't loved Herschel's ball carrier vision here. His vision to the hole hasn't been great to me here, but here we go once again under center. I form, straight drop. Cam just airmailed that through the end zone. Okay, we're gonna end that there. This game is over anyway, but there we go. So Bama takes this one. They are undefeated. They are going to the national championship game. Georgia goes down, but I have a good feeling we will see maybe this matchup, but if not, you know, Georgia right back here next year. Didn't really get to see Bam on offense, but we'll see maybe Calvin did something. So Cam, honestly, a really good day. It looked like they just couldn't get it done in the red zone. 405, 2 touchdowns. You will take that every day of the week. He added 30 on the ground. Herschel could not get it going on the ground. Only 64 yards on 25 carries. Julio went for 6 for 170. There's McConkey and Brown. Then if we go to the other side and look at Bama, Calvin had 79 yards. So good day for Calvin. Good day for Julio. Only Herschel really didn't have a good day out of our guys. So there we go. Okay, now we're just going to sim to bowl season. We're going to look at the bowls. We'll hop into one of the bowls, check that out, and then we'll look at the final stats for this year. Look at all Americans. Look at all that. All right, so there's the final Heisman, and we got Drew Allar from Penn State winning it. All right, well, let's go look at bowl season here, and we will see what our matchups are. Hopefully we have 2 of our teams matched up. Okay, so there's our first one. We have Michigan versus Clemson. We could watch that one. I'm surprised Clemson had that bad of a year, but we'll try to find one with better record. Texas A&M against Baylor. Baylor isn't one of our teams, but that obviously A&M is. Auburn versus Wisconsin. USC versus Ohio State. That's a pretty killer Rose Bowl game. Georgia's playing Maryland. That looks, ooh, okay. I think we're going to watch that one. I make up for it. That is the one I wanted to watch anyway. So unless we have some better matchup, Texas versus Michigan State with 2 of our teams, Penn State versus Oregon, North Carolina versus Bama, 2 undefeated teams. So we are definitely going to be watching Florida State versus Florida. Freaking sick. So that's our numbers on offense. Honestly, very similar, and defense are very similar. So should be 2 pretty evenly matched teams. Tebow, Peter Warrick, they got Barry and Lamar. So 4 of our guys in this game, 2 on each side of the ball. Yeah, this is good. Okay, we're just gonna sim to the end of the first quarter here. All right, close game, 3-0 Florida. No one's really jumped out here, so we'll just keep going. We'll go to the second half. All right, a lot more offense there. 21-10 Florida. We're gonna go to the 4th quarter, but we're definitely gonna hop in some of this. Okay, it is 28-17, and Florida State is driving on the Gators. So we're gonna watch some of this. So Tim Tebow in at quarterback. We got Peter Warwick as receiver. I'm not sure what number he is, maybe 87. Here's Tebow, drop back, fires it in. There we go. Wow, that was an absolute blast there. So Portier is 88. Oh, I think 87 is Warwick. Oh, so that was third down. I didn't even realize that. So Florida State gets held to 3. If they can make this, kick is up and kick is good. Okay, we're just gonna watch some of this actually right here. So Florida is trying to go down and drive. We got Lamar and Barry in the backfield. Absolute chaos. A little speed option with Lamar Jackson and Barry Sanders. Could you imagine? In college, speed option Florida, Barry Sanders and Lamar Jackson. That is insane. Okay, so Lamar in at QB, going under center now. I'm guessing this is going to be a run to Barry, but we will see. They are down 2 scores, so they need to, score somewhat quick here. They are going to, oh no, a little play action. Lamar's dropping back. He's getting a little pressure, but he's doing just so much time in the pocket. Finally tucks and runs. Put a move on him, Lamar. There we go. Okay, Lamar Jackson out inside the 20, maybe the 10. Yeah, just inside the 20. Good run there from Lamar, back to back. More under center here. I'm thinking this is Barry now, but I guess maybe 5 minutes left. Yeah, no, Barry up the gun. Good run for Barry inside the 10-yard line. 91 rush yards for Barry, so he's having himself a good game. Here we go. Now a little pistol look. A pistol with Barry and Lamar. That's what I like to see. Lamar, a little read. Oh no, little play action. Fires it out. He looked like he had a guy in the back corner, but he missed him. All right, so here we are about the 6-yard line here. Under center, Barry in the backfield, just one step drop and throws it out of the end zone. Lamar, be a little more patient. We want to see something get done here. Okay, 3rd and goal. A field goal puts them down 11. They kind of need a score here. Oh, a little tunnel screen. That gets stopped. We will see what they're going to do. Okay, we're going to watch just in case. Yeah, so they are going for it. 4th and goal. I would do another read option, speed option with Lamar and Barry. Get your 2 best players involved, but they're going straight back, straight drop back with Lamar, pressure, and he's going down. Florida State's defense steps up. Lamar is going down. Now we have Florida State on offense. Watch a little bit of this, but they're up 2 scores. I think they're just going to be trying to run the ball here with, oh, it is empty. So maybe a little QB draw. No, Tebow's just dropping back, fires it out there. Okay. Shotgun. Motion across, that might be work in motion, little fake to him, and then hand to the running back who runs the guy over, but he is short. 3rd and 3. There's no reason Florida can't get the ball back here. This is where real life Tebow at Florida would have just put his head down and blasted through someone for 3 yards, but here they hand it off to a running back who is short. Great play by the Florida defense. Very good. Benson, I think, is a 99 overall, and they brought him down. Great play. So we're going to next change of possession. Yeah. So we'll watch this drive. We'll see what Lamar and Barry can do. Even if they don't score, we get to see a little bit more action with the dudes. Here we go. Lamar in shotgun, Barry beside him. Speed option once again. Now he goes to Barry. Ooh, Barry trying to stiff arm to nobody. Get upfield. Start putting some moves on some guys. We'll hurry up here for Lamar and Barry, going back to pistol. They only got 3 minutes and they're down 14. So they need a score and a quick score. Oh, Lamar, that should have been picked off. Tried to take advantage of that middle safety who stepped in front of it. That was not great from our guy, but there we go. Okay, here we go. Spread look. Barry to his left. Lamar in shotgun. Drops back, fires it, a little check down underneath, and Barry drops it. So it is what it is. Not sure what's going on there, but okay, this is it. Now or never here, Lamar, and they do a draw to Barry Sanders on 4th and 10. Okay, so Florida State's football, that is going to do it. We're going to get out of here. We're just going to super sim the rest of this because that was insane. I get that. If you did that on 3rd down, I wouldn't even be mad. But 4th and 10, you're not doing that. All right, so Florida State beats Florida. Let's go look at the stats for our 4 main guys. So Tebow, 231, no touchdowns, no picks, 151 QB rating is good. He added 42 on the ground. Benson had 107. Wilson had 110. Warwick basically had nothing. 1 catch for 8 yards. Then if we go to Florida, we got rushing Barry 107, Lamar another 37, and then passing. Lamar had a really good day, 313 and 2 touchdowns. So can't get mad at Lamar for that day. Couldn't finish in the red zone, couldn't end it at the get it at the end there, but both sophomores, they'll be back next year ready to rock. All right, so we are just going to sim to the end of bowl season here. We're going to look at the final stats, look at the top 25, look at, all Americans, all that. All right, so all the bowl games are now wrapped up. Let's look at the final top 25. So Bama, number 1. Florida State is the next best one of our teams. Then SC, Georgia, Auburn, Penn State, Florida, and the team I'm controlling in Air Force, who I do absolutely nothing for. We can look at I don't know if any of our guys would have been All-Americans this year. I doubt it. No. So none of our guys there. If we go second team, no. So none this year, but I think next year we should have a good shot to get a few. Okay, if we look at, we're going to go look at the season stats. So Bama, we have our guy, Calvin freaking Johnson, second leading receiver on the team. I was worried he wasn't going to get a ton of playing time, so we'll take that. 17 yards per reception, almost 60 yards a game. Very, very respectable there, Calvin. Okay, we're going to go to Auburn with our guy, Peyton freaking Manning. 227, 3,200 yards, 34 touchdowns, only 6 picks, 250 a game. Hopefully next year they let him air it out even more. I would love to see it. Okay, go to Clemson. Now they kind of had a down year. They didn't do great record-wise. Not as good of a QB rating here. 15 interceptions compared to what Peyton have 6. So obviously want to see a little bit better here. He had weapons. He kind of had it all. So yeah, not the best year from Trevor Lawrence in year 2. Okay, now we're going to go down to Florida. Lamar, 2,700 yards, 21 touchdowns, 7 picks is good. 211 a game, like for, kind of a mobile running QB, that's not bad. 1,161 yards, 14 touchdowns is great for year 2 Barry Sanders. Lamar added another 500 yards on the ground for another 40 yards per game. Good year from Lamar. I think we should see a ton of improvement next year, but good year. Okay, then we go Florida State. We have Tebow added 725 on the ground. So he actually had more than Lamar, over 50 a game, plus 11 touchdowns. So really good there. 142. So Tebow had a excellent year. Excellent. Over 40 touchdowns, almost 4,000 yards. Yeah, Tebow was that guy this year. Warwick, second leading receiver. Should be stepping into that number 1 role next year, which should just be a smash with him and Tebow. Basically, he'll be his version of Percy Harvin, in real life when he played at Florida. So, okay, Reggie Bush still getting no action through the air. 1,364 rushing yards, though. 112 a game. Definitely like to see that. Okay, next we have Georgia with our 3 guys. Herschel, 1,400 yards, and Cam almost had 1,000. And their backup running at 800. The amount these guys are running the ball is insane. Like, obviously not great for Julio, but so Cam 18 touchdowns for our guy Herschel as well. Passing 2,600 yards, 26 touchdowns, only 9 picks, almost 200 a game. When you add the 1,000 almost rushing yards, great. Okay, Julio, kind of almost moved down to even that 4th receiver role this year. So not great for Julio, but he should be there well on number 1 target next year with a bullet. All 3 of the guys above him are seniors. It is going to be those 3 basically running the whole show next year. I'm actually really excited to see that. Okay, go down to Indiana. Now, if you remember, Vince actually was not throwing the ball well the first half of the year at all. Maybe got a little better. I think it was like low 90s QB rating before. Now it's, just above 114 touchdowns. I think before he had more touchdowns and interceptions. So that's definitely better. Added 827 on the ground. So doing really well running the ball, but still developing as a passer at Indiana. We go to LSU. These guys run the ball. Yeah, AP 1,400 yards, 11 touchdowns, 121 a game. Yeah, I don't think Jamar did much. Yeah, 554, 2 touchdowns only. They just don't use them. They don't use them. AP getting a ton of love though.
Okay, if we go to Michigan, this was super disappointing when we were last here. And yeah, it's more of the same. So 567 and 417, 17 yards. Every time person touches the ball, it's, you know, fireworks, but doesn't really touch it. And they had a 99 QB, but he did not put up good stats, actually. 114 QB rating. I don't think they throw the ball very much. So maybe next year, new QB, they'll switch it up and Jerry and Percy can have a better year. Let me go down to Pitt with Joe Burrow. Pitt Panthers right here. Doesn't have great receiving options. Yeah, 113, 18, 11. Yeah, not great for Joe. But I don't think he has good enough weapons to really do damage. We go to Penn State. QB won the Heisman. You should think, you know, his number one option did well. 1,000 receiving yards as a second-year player with 15 touchdowns for Tavon Austin. Very, very good. That is what we want to see from our guy Tavon. Okay, go down to Bo at South Alabama. Yeah, I mean, 1,200 yards, good. Not as good as I thought. I just thought they would just hand them the ball basically every play, but pretty good. Over 100 yards, take it. Okay, go to Texas. 1,337 rushing yards here for Saquon. 14 touchdowns, won a game. Yeah, you'll take that. Like, because he's more of a split back role, a little bit, not getting as much, more talent around him, where Bo, he's like the only player on the team. That's why I think you should expect more from him. If we look at Randy, he's kind of in a similar scenario to Julio a little bit, where he's the fourth option here, but, you know, him and Casey Kane are back next year, so they should both have over 1,000 yards, I think, next year for sure. Then lastly, we have USC with our two running backs plus Raleek Brown, so it's kind of just a shit show here. Yeah, Raleek is the number one, then LT, then Ricky's fourth in actual rushing yards, but by next year, Ricky and Raleek should be the third string, and yeah, so that is where we sit after year 2, guys. So now we're just going to basically sim to the start of the year 3, look at who got better, who's, you know, really going to start taking over playing time wise. And now it's the junior year. This is when it really gets going. Some of these guys will go up all the way to 99s and should be absolutely scary. All right. Well, here we are at the start of year number 3. This is everyone's junior season. Now we have a few things we like to look at the start of each year. First, preseason poll, see where our guys are sitting, see if we have some chances at like a natty or something. So Bama, we have Calvin, Peter Warwick, and Tebow on Florida State, third in the country. Our two running backs on USC. Penn State has Tavon Austin. Georgia has 3 of our guys, A-pluses across the board. I think they definitely have a shot. Auburn with Peyton Manning. Florida with Lamar and Barry. Michigan there with 2 receivers. Texas with, who do they have? Randy Moss and Saquon. So yeah, Clemson with Lawrence. So they have a ton of top 25 teams. A&M with Vic. So all our guys are on, not all of our guys, but a lot of our guys are on, you know, good situations where they definitely can make some noise. Alar is back. He won the Heisman last year. Then Tebow is actually 3rd in the Heisman running. So that'd be pretty sick to see Tebow win it. Gonna look at preseason All-Americans, see if we have any of those. Tavon Austin is a preseason first team All-American, and that is it for our guys. Okay, now we're gonna go through the rosters, look at what overall everyone's at, who went up the most. At this point, everybody should be the starter at their position, so we shouldn't have to worry about that, but you know, you never know. Okay, even just looking at Alabama, look at their receiving core. They have 3 97s and then a 76. So I don't know, like, it'll be interesting to see how they divvy up the targets, but wow, Pretense, Law, Calvin Johnson, 3 98s or 97s, and who's their QB? Trey Sanders, a junior. So hopefully he's ready to rock, because they have some weapons, dude, and 2 good tight ends. Wow. So Calvin is somehow not even the like number 1 receiver right now, which is actually insane. But
There we go. Okay, now we're going to go down to Auburn with Peyton, 97 overall, obviously going to be the starter. He's going to start all 3 to 4 years. That's the other thing to keep in mind, guys. Some of the guys could leave for the NFL draft after this season. They can leave after 3 years. Most of the time I find that guys stay for their senior year, but sometimes like 2 or 3 guys end up leaving. So just keep that in mind. Okay, now we're going to go down to Clemson, and we have Trevor Lawrence, who's a 99 overall. They have Klubnik as his backup. I actually didn't look at Peyton's weapons, but yeah, so Clemson, good weapons, no running back. So hopefully they are ready just to throw the ball with Trevor. Okay, now we're down to Florida. Lamar Jackson, 98 overall, 96 speed. Barry Sanders, a 97 overall with a 95 backup. So these guys are built to run the rock. Only really one good receiver, couple of good tight ends though, which is nice. So yeah, these guys ready to run the ball 100%. Okay, Florida State. I think these guys could be sneaky, make the natty. Okay, Tebow, 99, obviously freak show. Lost their running back, but still 2, decent running backs to move to run. But now we can start throw. Oh, okay, never mind. So they lost a ton of depth. So I thought they were, a little bit deeper, but yeah, they lost a lot of guys from last year. So it's actually more like the Tebow Peter Warwick show, which will be fun for their stats. Yeah, then we go down to Fresno State with the man, the myth, the legend, Reggie Bush, 99 overall. By far the best player on the team. Give him the rock, boys. Yeah, then we go down to Georgia. Julio Jones is finally their number 1 receiver. They had the 99 overall tight end who's gone. They still have a really good tight end, but they still have a ton of weapons, but Julio should be the number 1 target. Then they have 98 overall Herschel Walker with a good backup though, 97 overall. So these guys are absolutely loaded. 98 over, like insanely loaded. 98 overall QB with a 95 backup and a 91 third string. Georgia, they got to be title favorites this year. With this trio, I would love to see them win it. Then we go down to Indiana, 98 overall. Vince Young has not really played that great. He actually is a good running back this year. What are his weapons? He actually has some okay receivers. So I don't know, maybe we'll see a better and 2 good tight ends. So it actually looks like his talent around him is actually better this year. So maybe we'll see an improved VY. Okay, we go to LSU. Decent QB in Nussmeier, but AP obviously is going to be a killer at a 98 overall. They have 3 good receivers, with Jamar Chase being by far the best, but I think AP will have a good year. I just have not seen anything from LSU that would make me think, that's in their cards for Jamar to have a big year. Okay, if we go to Michigan, we got Percy and Jerry, 297 overall, just freaks at wide receiver. They still have a good running back. They have a decent QB, but I feel like they are just so run heavy. I don't know if we're really ever going to get to see Percy and Jerry really, explode to match how talented they are. Okay, we go down to the Pitt Panthers and our guy Joe Burrow. 4 okay wide receivers, not great. A couple of okay running backs. Good QB, but he's actually progressing a little bit slower at only a 96. He didn't have the best year 2 as a sophomore. So we'll see, but he just didn't really pick the best place to go. Okay, we go down to Penn State, and we have Allar, senior quarterback who won the Heisman last year, so we know he's going to produce. They have a 99 running back and a 95 backup. And then they have a 97 Tavon Austin with 2 other really good receivers. So a bunch of their guys are seniors also. So this is Penn State's year. Everybody's a senior basically on offense except Tavon Austin. So they actually easily could win the Big Ten and do some damage. Here we got South Alabama. We got Bo Jackson. Bo knows. 97 overall, 99 speed. Decent QB actually this year. But yeah, this is the Bo show. Just give him the rock. I want to see like an 1,800 yard season from Bo this year. Okay, we go down to Texas. We got Barkley, 99 overall. Good stable of running backs overall. Wow. And Randy Moss is still not their number 1 receiver. Somehow an 81 speed guy
is the number one option, but hopefully like he's right there. So hopefully, and Quinn Ewers is back. Same with Vince Card, and then he'll have Malik Murphy next year. So good QB play, good running backs, two great receivers, and a good third receiver. So really hope Randy Moss can put it all together this year. If we look at, this is A&M with Vic, so he's got 3-4 good to decent wide receivers. You know, only one of them is a senior, so he'll have these 3 back next year. See his tight end, actually, he's 2 really good tight ends, and one of them will be back next year. 2 good senior running backs, and the underclassmen aren't amazing. And we have the man, the myth, the legend, Michael freaking Vick, 98 speed. Just a freak show, should put up some crazy stats this year. Then last but not least, we have USC. They did lose Caleb Williams. They have this Miller Moss, senior. They have this is their year. But honestly, if they have no QB next year, they can just give it the ball to LT and Ricky Williams. Raleek Brown's a 96. But yeah, come on. Let's run the ball this year with LT and Ricky and see what happens. Let's see the receivers. Good receiving core as well. So they should be doing some damage. Okay. That's kind of everything leading into year 2. Now we're going to just sim to about week 9, and then we're going to look at the stats, look at the top 25, all of that, and we're going to look for some matchups in the second half of the year. All right, so we are through week 8. Let's go look at this top 25, see how all the boys are doing. We got Bama undefeated 6-0, Texas undefeated 6-0, Penn State, Michigan undefeated 6-0. We couldn't see them maybe in the Big Ten final. Florida State 6-1, USC 4-2, Georgia 6-2, 2 losses for Georgia. I'm actually going to be disappointed if they don't at least make a natty with all our boys, with 3 guys on our team from our recruiting on their team. A&M 5-2, Clemson 4-2, Auburn 5-2, LSU 4-3. So, you know, lots of guys still in the running, a few like 4 undefeated teams or something like that. If we look at the Heisman watch, Cam Newton, 2nd in the Heisman, Tebow 3rd. So finally seeing some of our guys up near the Heisman, you know, top of the Heisman rankings as well. Okay, we're going to go quickly through the stats right here. Then we'll go through them like more in depth at the end. Receiving, Calvin, just honestly disappointing. Wow. Averaging, being way less explosive than all the other guys too. So unfortunate. Yeah, no, not great for Calvin right there. Okay, now we go to Auburn. 152 QB ratings, good. 1,500 yards, 21 touchdowns in like 6 games, over 220 yards per game. I will take that. I think Peyton has more to give, but that's a good start. Go down to Clemson. I really hope they're letting them rip here. 150, 17, 15, almost 300 yards a game. So they are finally letting Trevor throw the rock, and he is delivering. Almost 300 yards a game. They don't really have a running back this year, so that makes sense, but there we go. Okay, Florida. We got 1,600 yards, 20 touchdowns, 8 picks, but yeah, 200 yards a game, 20 touchdowns already for Lamar. Barry, 762 on the ground. They're really kind of splitting carries with him and Etienne, so he's not getting that full run. Still getting 95 yards a game, and then Lamar is averaging another 56 yards a game. So they have 3 guys averaging 56, 73, 95. So they can really run the rock, and then when they want to throw it, obviously Lamar can make you pay as well. They got Burke, who's having honestly a really good year. If Calvin was having this year, I'd be pretty excited at Bama. So all things considered, Florida State doing well. Tim Tebow, I think he was 3rd in the Heisman, so we know he must be off to a good start. 1,600 yards, 22 touchdowns, 1 INT for 240 a game. And if we look at rushing, Tebow is averaging another 443 touchdowns. So he's got like 25 touchdowns with 1 turnover, another 62 on the ground. So Tebow is absolutely killing it. How's Peter Warwick doing? Pretty freaking good too. 555, 79 a game. Well, I'd like that to uptick just a tiny bit, but him and the tight end basically are the 2 who get the ball, a little bit of checkdowns to the running back. So, you know, when they're throwing to a receiver, it is Peter Warwick. Okay, we go to Fresno State, and they do not, 11, I guess, like maybe he's getting 2 a game right now, but like, look, he's averaging 19 yards per catch. Reggie Bush, throw him the ball more. Use him as a freaking receiver, and they going to their fullback 83 attempts. He just picked the wrong freaking school. Could have went anywhere. Like, he's 73 yards a game is okay, but yeah, that's disappointing. Okay, we got Georgia Bulldogs. We're going to start with Cam. So Cam is second in Heisman voting right now. 1,500 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 9 picks. So throwing, Tebow's definitely a little ahead. Rushing, Cam's averaging 431, 9 touchdowns, 53. So ton of touchdowns, ton of yards. I actually think Tebow's having a slightly better year, but I think Tebow also has more. I don't know. I think Tebow might have been undefeated. Yeah, so I don't know. But Herschel Walker, 876. So he's averaging over 100 a game. Only 4 touchdowns, but yeah. And like he's even getting some carries taken away, but yeah, he's doing really well. Julio, number 1 option, leading receiver on the team by a ton. It's basically him and this tight end who are getting all the work. 4 touchdowns, 54 a game. Not amazing, but it is a run-heavy offense, and just having him on the outside is going to scare people. Okay, we go down to Indiana. Let's see if Vince can finally start putting together. 108 QB rating is not great. 1,000 yards, 176. So yeah, I don't know. 418, another 70 on the ground, which obviously is good, but yeah, Vince has just not really ever put it together at Indiana. So okay, we go to LSU. Nussmeier, honestly, maybe actually a better year. Okay, Jamar might be finally getting some run here. AP 656 4 tutties, 94 a game. We will take that, honestly. Jamar, okay. I was not confident Jamar would do anything this year, and he's averaging almost 100 a game, 7 touchdowns. Obviously, it wasn't because I didn't think he was good enough. 97 overall, one of the best receivers college has ever seen, but he just had done nothing in his first 2 years because of QB. So finally putting it together, that is good to see. Okay, Michigan. Maybe we'll see something similar. Are Percy and Jerry finally getting the run that we need them to get? Not really. I mean, okay, so Jerry, honestly, you know what? I will take this. 80 yards a game, that is fine. That is good. 63 for Percy, decent. Jerry's also at 9 touchdowns. I mean, 18 and a half every time he touches. These two are super explosive. They have really good weapons. QB, actually playing pretty well. They're throwing the ball more, which is what we needed them to do. They had a 99 QB and didn't throw it last year, so at least we're getting some production out of them. Okay, Pitt Panthers. Joe Burrow wasn't great last year, was really good as a freshman. Oh my goodness. He has 1 receiver with 700 yards and no one else over 200. So that is a little wild. 135 QB rating is okay. 13 and 4, 250 yards. So decent. He actually was running the ball decent, I think. Oh, wow. So he's actually running the ball a lot. I don't even think I made his speed that crazy. But I gave him 84 speed. So maybe a little higher than he should have. Maybe should have been more like 80. But so he's running the ball a bit as well, adding some value there. Okay, Penn State, and we have our guy Tavon Austin, 563. The next closest receiver is 300. He's got also 10 touchdowns, 93 a game. Smash. Tavon's been very, very good at Penn State, basically the whole time. Okay, we go South Alabama with Bo knows. Are they using him as a receiver? He's got 1 catch for 15 yards. 91 carries. It's 94 a game. Oh, it's okay, but I mean, this is Bo Jackson at South Alabama. He should be getting fucking 150 yards a game, at least. Okay, Texas. Saquon, 830, getting way more carries in the second string, 11 touchdowns, 138 a game. Saquon is killing it. Okay, that is what we like to see. Randy, decent. It's annoying that this Kane is ahead of him on the depth chart. 88 yards compared to 73. They are not using Barkley as a receiver at all, but he is killing it on the ground. Okay, A&M, we got our man Mike Vick, really good QBR. 1,400 yards, 21 touchdowns, 8 for over 200 a game as a running QB. That is good. He's averaging 575, so another 82 on the ground plus 5 touchdowns. So if they get their record a little higher, I think they're 2 or 3 losses right now. If they finish around that, Vic could have a shot at the Heisman for sure. Some decent receiving yards or stats as well. Then lastly, if we look at SC and our 2 running backs, LT getting some work in the pass game. Ricky is not. Running there basically just neck and neck. LT is getting more carries, but Ricky's getting a higher average. 8 to 3 touchdowns, 97 and 84. Imagine that backfield. They are absolutely killing it. So they lose Caleb Williams, but now they can just turn around and hand the ball to Ricky Williams and LT. So that's okay. That is okay. Okay, I'm going to look through the top 25 here and try to find a really good matchup for us to watch later in the year. You know what? Just looking at this, I think we're going to have a good chance of getting Alabama, Georgia, and Penn State, Michigan in the conference finals. I think I'm just going to sim to the conference final. We should have a good matchup between one of those two teams, and then maybe even like Florida State, Clemson. So I think we can go to conference championship weekend and we'll be able to get a matchup. All right, so we are in conference championship weekend. Let's hope we have a good matchup. Georgia, Alabama. So I was pretty sure at least we'd get that. Fresno State is actually, I'm not going to watch it, but, and Penn State's playing Iowa. Oh, I was hoping it was going to be Michigan. They might be on the same side of the bracket, but wow. So we have a good chance actually of a Penn State Alabama final as long as they both win their championship games. I'm a little disappointed in Georgia that they have 3 losses. Yeah, so they're both undefeated. If they both win this weekend, we'll definitely watch that natty. That'll be Tavon Austin versus Calvin Johnson. Not as I do like it that when we have 2 guys on the team, but I mean that's the natty. Got some of our boys trying to win it. So okay, we're going to watch some of this Georgia-Alabama game. We'll just hop right in. Wow, so this is where they look at Alabama's offense. Crazy. 47 points per game, most yards in the country, and their defenses are very similar as well, with Bama's actually being a little better. They have a ton of talent, but I'm surprised. I actually think the Georgia offense is more talented, but like look at those top 3. But wow, okay, so Bama, definitely the heavy favorite, but Georgia has so much talent. If they put it all together, it's going to be tough. Bama's going to be tough. We're going to sim through the first quarter here. Okay, 7-7 through 1. We're going to go to halftime. Ooh, 21-7. Okay, let's go to the fourth. 42-14. We're just going to watch this drive just because obviously it doesn't totally matter at this point, but I do want to see some of Cam, Herschel, Julio, see them do something, but Bama, for whatever reason, just has too much for Georgia right now. I know they beat them earlier in the year as well, so this is going to give Georgia their 4th loss. 2 to the number 1 team in the country, but okay, there we go. Cam drops back, fires it underneath. I think that's their tight end. Nice little pickup. We'll just watch this one drive. So Herschel's in the backfield with Cam. Julio's at the bottom of our screen right there. Oh, he's going to tuck it and run. Ooh, he almost had a gap. Still picked up, 6-7 yards though. Clock is ticking. 42-14. I don't think Bulldog fans thought this. I don't know if they thought they'd win, but I don't think that anyone thought it'd be kind of this blowout. I'd be interested. I wonder if Calvin had a big game. That'd be nice to see. With the amount of yards and points they put up, you'd think Calvin, had a good second half to the year, but okay, here we go. Drops back. Cam steps up in the pocket. Oh my goodness, so much time, and then throws it 1 yard in front of his face. Okay, so this Bama secondary is locking down on the back end. Cam, Julio, Herschel just can't get nothing going. Unreal. Cam had a ton of time. They were not getting any pressure, but okay, drop back, little tunnel screen, and they do get it for the first down. Bama has their number. Herschel under center. Julio's at the bottom of the screen here, split out wide. Cam pulls it, falls forward. All right, well, we got a little look at Georgia. Very disappointing. I'm really hoping all 3 of those guys are back for their senior season, and so they did end up scoring on that drive. I hope all 3 are back for their senior season and we can see, them make some noise, because it's cool that we had all 3, at 3 different positions. I was hoping that would happen. I didn't care what school, but I was hoping it would happen somewhere. So let's have them come in for their senior year and put it all together. Okay, if we look at stats, Trey Sanders, 394 yards, 5 touchdowns, an 88 overall, and he is this freaking good. If we look at rushing, 128 yards, running the ball at will. Yeah, okay, so they had 200-yard receivers, but Calvin was not one of them, but Calvin did have 2 touchdowns, so there we go. Oh, actually, I guess we should look at Georgia's stats as well. they took the L. Okay, honestly, Cam had a pretty good day. 161 rating is good. 292, 3 touchdowns. That's good. Herschel, not great, but 89 yards is good. Julio, 104, good, not amazing. So all 3 guys played well, but just wasn't enough to take down this just powerhouse in Alabama. They look like just an absolute unit. Really hoping Penn State is able to win their game against Iowa and we get a Penn State versus Alabama Natty. Okay, so we're gonna sim to conference champion, or we're gonna sim to bowl season, right? So there it is, the Heisman, and Alar from Penn State wins it again. Back-to-back Heisman victories. Only the 2nd player ever to win 2 Heismans. Wow. Okay, and we have it. So we have a Penn State Bama Natty, so we will watch that game. We're gonna go look and see if we have any other bowl matchups. I mean, we could even hop into 2 if we want. USC, wow, 7-5 playing Utah State. South Alabama made a bowl game with Bo, but we're not gonna watch it against Rice. Fresno State 10-3 made a bowl game. Clemson 7-5 with Trevor Lawrence. That is just not good enough. LSU 6-6, not good enough. Florida versus Indiana, wow, so that's actually Lamar Jackson and Barry against Vince Young. That honestly might be kind of cool to watch for a little bit, but Florida State, we might have to watch that, boys, just for a bit. Vic versus Tebow and Peter Warrick. I thought Florida State was going to be better this year. Georgia there. Michigan taking Arizona. Michigan only finished with 2 losses. Texas 10-2 in the Sugar Bowl against Houston, and then Penn State Bama. Okay, we're gonna start with this A&M Florida State game. Just watch it a bit. We'll just watch if in the 4th quarter if it's close. Then we're gonna watch some of the Natty as well. All right, so that's where the 2 teams sit. Very similar offensively. It looks like defensively Florida State's a bit better, but I mean A&M also plays in the SEC. That's our top 3. Obviously, Peter Warrick and Tebow are their real standouts. And then we have Michael Vick, of course, for A&M, who's going to be, running the show for them. Okay, we're going to sim through the first. 3-0. Okay, sim through the second. Wow, 10-7. A bit of a defensive battle here. We're going to sim to the 4th quarter. Wow, 14-10. Neither team is really getting it going here. Okay, we're going to sim a little slower here. We might be able to just hop into some drives. Yeah, they're just kind of punting back and forth. Ooh. The defenses are just coming to play. Oh, there it is. Okay, so A&M just scored a touchdown. I probably should have watched that, but all of a sudden they just threw a 20-yard touchdown. Okay, Florida State's down 11, but we're going to check out this drive. So this will be Tebow and Peter Warrick, stuck 11 late in the 4th. Tebow hasn't been able to get it going offensively. Lefty drops back, fires it out along the sideline, 3-yard gain. Hey, here we go again. Tebow in shotgun, drops back, time. Oh, right down the seam. That was a dot from Tebow. That was a laser beam. Good shit, Tebow. I'd like to see that a little more this game before the 4th quarter when you need to drive, but here we go. Let's get Peter Warrick involved. Drops back, scans. Nice little check down to the running back who goes up, gets about 15 yards right there. Okay, so Florida State's got a bit of a drive going. Going a little hurry up here. They still have 3 timeouts, but they do need 2 scores, so they are not in a great spot. Tebow drops back, scans, another little right along the sideline. Good drive. There's Peter Warrick, a little action. Okay, shotgun Warrick. Looks like he's bottom of the screen here on the outside. Tebow drops back, so looking left. Nice little out route. Okay, so they're moving the ball. They're actually just driving right here. Okay, shotgun Warrick, bottom of your screen here as well. Motioning out the tight end. What do we got? Timmy T drops back, another little hook route to the running back. I mean, they're nothing explosive, but Tebow's just kind of picking them apart, taking what they give them. 2:20 left in the ball game. They need a quick score here, probably either an onside kick or a quick stop, get the ball back. Okay, here's Peter Warrick in motion into the backfield. They're handing it off. No, read option with Tim Tebow and Peter Warrick, and Tebow is in for the score. That is some creativity. If you have players like Warrick and Tebow, that is what we want to see. They motion Warrick into the backfield, out from receiver, then run read option with him and Tebow, their 2 best players, and they are able to score. That is massive. Okay, so gonna go next change of possession. A&M needs to, needs a first down, maybe 2 here. Florida State has 3 timeouts. Vic in the backfield here. Little read option for Vic and goes up, gets about 6 yards. Florida State is going to call the timeout there. Okay, here we go again. Vic, a little pistol action here, double tight to the right. Little stretch run there. Oh my goodness, I thought he had the first down, but he is stuffed. Wow, Florida State, 1 timeout left, 1:48. Here it is. Here's the ball game. If Vic is able to get them a yard here, it is over. If not, Florida State has every chance to win this game. Okay, motion a guy across. Little play action, drops back. Vic, oh my goodness, it was dropped. I don't know if it could have been picked or not, but Vic, play action on 3rd and 1. I don't think there's any way they go for this. No, they're punting. Okay, so Florida State has 1 timeout, going to have about a minute 40, minute 35 left with the ball, down 3. Tebow, Peter Warwick, will they be able to score? Big, that's a great punt. Wow, great punt. Decent little return here. So yeah, 1:35 left. Let's see what you got, Tim Tebow. All they need is a field goal. They got to go about 70 yards here. Tebow drops back, a little screen pass to the running back. Great play by the A&M defender. Snuffed that out. Clock is running. Lose 4 yards. That's about as bad of a start as Florida State could have. Are they going to spike the ball here? Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. So we're all of a sudden 3rd and 14 for Florida State. This is obviously 4 down territory, but that drive started about as bad as it possibly could. I would not have spiked to the ball there. I would have just hurried to the line and called something, but here we go. Tebow drops back. Time in the pocket, a strike over the middle. Tebow is picking apart this A&M secondary. Every time he drops back, he's just finding the open guy. I would not, run the ball here. I'm letting Tebow. He showed so far the last 2 drives. Give him a chance with those arm and he can make plays. So Tebow drops back, plenty of time. Another strike along the sideline. Brandon Hudson, 18 yards. Florida State is making plays when it matters most. They're now only, 10 yards probably away from field goal range. I don't know how good their kicker is, but sounds about right. Motion across the formation. Little draw. You know what? It kind of worked. 7 yards. They have a minute. They're not really low on time, but I think if I'm Florida State, I'm trying to go down and win this. You got it. Still a timeout. Go try to score. You're 34 yards out, 33 yards out. There is no reason you can't just try to end this right here. Tebow drops back, pressure in his face. Picked off. Tebow picked off. Oh man, tries to throw that out route. He was playing so good, but that is gonna do it. Vic kneels, and that is it. Texas A&M wins it. Vic had himself a good game, 225 yards, 37 on the ground, 3 total touchdowns, but A&M is victorious. Tebow had a great read option run, had some really good plays at the end there. He tried to force it in along the sideline. They had pressure in his face, and that is what happens. Wow. So yeah, Vic, good game, not great, but he got it done. If we look at Florida State, Hill actually had a good game running the ball. Warwick had 74 yards and Tebow 340 and 3 interceptions. That's what killed them, the 3 turnovers. He also had 64 on the ground. So yeah, it was the turnovers by Tebow that cost Florida State that bowl game victory and won it for A&M. So there it is. Good matchup there between 2 of our QBs and Peter Warwick. Now we'll quickly... These are our receivers in this. A lot of the time, it's not that interesting because the receivers, we could watch the whole game. They might get thrown to 6 times. But we definitely, 2 of our teams in the Natty, we are definitely going to watch some of this. Pretty crazy. This Penn State team has back-to-back Heisman winner at QB. Good matchup. 1st in points versus 4th. 2nd best defense in the country versus 10th. This seems like a very, very close matchup. Yeah, there is no reason that this is not going to be just an absolute barn burner. Big Ten versus SEC, classic. Looks like we're in Miami. All right, so yeah, like I said, this game, we watched a few games already this year, so I'm just going to watch it if it's close at the end. If not, we'll just kind of super sim through. And wow, it does not look like it's going to be close at the end. 31-7 Alabama, 38-7. So yeah, this game is over. Oh my goodness. Bama is an absolute wagon, man. They just whooped Penn State and Georgia back-to-back weeks, and they are national champions. Holy crap. This team was an absolute house. Look at this guy. He ran past for 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, and it didn't even matter. Only 9 yards on the ground. Back-to-back Heisman. Tavon showed up big. 152 and a touchdown. Tavon's a freak, but clearly Alabama was just too much. Calvin only had 51 yards. They ran for 147 with their stud running back Miller. And Trey Sanders just literally lights people on fire. This guy's an absolute freak. 400 yards and 5 touchdowns again. I think that was basically his stat line against Georgia. So he is going to be back next year with Calvin. So hopefully, with Calvin being his number 1 receiver, I think at least one of those other guys is gone. He should put up some huge stats. Okay, let's look through these final stats. Go to Bama. This Trey Sanders, look at his year. 48 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 210 QB rating. Does he run the ball too? And he runs the ball for 800. This guy should have won the Heisman. He had 50 touchdowns and 2 picks. Holy crap, man. And he's 88 overall. That doesn't make sense. Pretense was there, just number 1 receiver, but he is gone next year. So it'll just be Law and Calvin. But Calvin, 659. He had 9 touchdowns, but just for whatever reason, just hasn't gotten the run at Bama. Go to Auburn with our guy, Peyton Manning. 148 QB rating, 26. So just not let him throw the ball. Like, he's one of the best pocket passing QBs ever. Let it rip. Clemson, 3,200 yards, 31 touchdowns, 15 picks, 250 a game is okay, but oh my God, he ran the ball really well. 780 yards, so he's adding a ton on the ground. What did I make his speed? He only made it an 85, and he's actually super fast in real life, so definitely doing almost better on the ground than with his arm. If we go to Florida, Lamar, 2,500 yards, 28 touchdowns, 16 picks, which is just too many. Barry, 1,200 yards, but he split time a ton with Etienne, but Etienne is gone next year, so hopefully next year we just see Barry get a ton of run. Lamar added 800 on the ground and 8 touchdowns, so obviously a ton of extra value there, but would have liked, just a little more throughout. Tim Tebow, 3,300 yards, 37 touchdowns, 7 picks, 250 a game. Tebow added another 776 on the ground. That's another 59 a game, so that's good. Peter Warwick, 1,000 yards, 15 touchdowns. His number 1 option had a really good year. Not incredible, but good. Reggie, 20 catches for 299 yards and 5 touchdowns, it looked like. They give their fullback a ton of runs, which is bizarre. 1,100 yards, just not getting the ball enough. 82 yards a game. You're Fresno State and you have Reggie Bush. He should get the ball a ton. Like Herschel Walker, 1,500 yards, 110 a game, crazy. Cam adds 76 on the ground and 12 TDs, plus their backup running back. So they're a powerhouse running the ball. As far as Cam stats, passing the ball, 2,600 yards, 31 touchdowns, 11 picks. Good, not incredible. Julio Jones, 773. Leading receiver on the team, along with this Jackson Meeks, who actually, when he touches the ball, was more explosive. 9 touchdowns, 55 a game is okay. Would like to see it better, but it is what it is. We have Indiana now. Vince Young, wow. 2,300 yards, 17, just okay. Just not great, but okay. 843 on the ground, 64 a game. Like I said, good, but not incredible. If we go to LSU with Adrian Peterson, 1,200 yards, good, 7 touchdowns, 95 a game. Pretty good. If we look at receiving, Jamar ended up having a really nice year. Okay, and they never threw it to Adrian. I was curious. 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns, 84 a game, but I'm pretty sure his QB is gone next year, so I don't know if we'll see that again, but it was nice to see it at least 1 year. Michigan, Jerry, Percy, 2 best receivers on the team. Jerry had an okay year. Percy, I'd say, is a bit of a letdown, just not the right situation for those 2. Joe Burrow and Pitt, 140 QBR, 3,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, 8 INTs, so pretty good, decent at least. Okay, Penn State and Tavon Austin. So this guy won the Heisman. I would have gave it that Trey Sanders at Alabama's stats were just better. And he was a better runner. So, but whatever, obviously doesn't actually matter. Tavon, almost 1,300 yards, 17 touchdowns. He maybe has been the best receiver in the sim overall, but he does lose his QB next year, which could definitely put a hamper on, what we see from him. South Alabama, 1,200 yards from Bo. Like, I would have liked to see 1,800. Like, I just want to see him in that type of offense, but 14 touchdowns, 97 a game, pretty good. Go down to Texas, Saquon, 1,600 yards. I think that was more than anybody else, of our guys. 21 touchdowns, very, very good. Receiving, this Kane is just getting the most run. Like, I just wish these two had flipped roles this year. 971 is good from Moss, but when a guy is ahead of him, who he's definitely more talented than, is getting a 1,400 yard season, that's a little unfortunate. We go to A&M with our guy Vic, 2,500 yards, 36 touchdowns, 13 picks, pretty good. I'd like to see Vic around 1,000 rushing yards. 908, I would have liked 1,000, that would have been cool, but 7 touchdowns, good year from Vic. Then end it off with the Trojans, 1,200 yards and 941. So scary 1-2 punch there. 95 and 72 a game, did either of them. LT, actually a really good receiver too. 424 yards, that's another 32 through the air. Ricky didn't really use as a receiver. Okay, there we go. Really quick, we'll look at the final top 25 and we'll look at the All-Americans, see if we had any All-Americans. Bama, Penn State, Texas, Michigan, Florida State, A&M, Georgia, South Alabama finished in the top 25, which is crazy. There we go. So that was top 25. Let's look at the All-Americans. Trey Sanders was just absolutely sick. Tavon, first team All-American. And that is it. So just Tavon. Tavon is our only All-American. So, okay, that is going to wrap up season 3. Then we're going to sim right now to season 4. Look once again at the rosters, look at the early top 25, and that'll be this is our final season coming up, guys. So we want to see a Heisman. I want to see a national championship with one of our guys. So let's try to get that done. All right, guys. So we are finally at the start of year 4. Now, in this year, obviously, this is going to be this is going to be all the guys last season. So way this is going to be a little bit different is at the end of the year, we're actually going to look at the career stats for all the guys and just see who is actually the best receiver, QB, and running back out of the group, who had the most yards, touchdowns, all that. Plus, if you wait till the very end of the video, we can actually go to the players leaving tab and we can go to see which round each player was drafted. So stick around till the end. We'll see if they're round 1, round 2, round 3 undrafted players. And so we're just going to look at the preseason, polls really quick, see where all our guys are at, who is a shot at the Natty. So Bama with Calvin, Texas with Saquon and Randy, Tavon. So we have guys on the 4 top teams in the country right now. A&M with Vic, Michigan with our 2 receivers. I'm surprised. Okay, there's Georgia. I think Georgia has a shot with 3 of our guys. Florida State has a shot. And USC, Florida, Clemson. So that's kind of the top 25 where our guys are at. Let's quickly look at the Heisman watch, see if our guys are in that. So Trey Sanders, the Alabama QB, absolutely killed it. So Alabama's got 1 and 2 in the Heisman. Then Saquon Barkley and Cam Newton. So we have 2 of the top 5. Let's look at preseason All-Americans. We have Saquon. That is it for first team. Second team, we have LT and Tavon. So we do have, a few guys sprinkled in through the preseason All-Americans. Now, one other thing, we're going to go quickly look at the overalls and the rosters. But one thing to keep in mind is some of players could technically leave after their junior season. Now, it doesn't happen often, but it does happen every once in a while. So some guys could have left last year. This will be the first we're finding out. So they basically have 2 stud wide receivers, Law and Calvin. They have a stud running back and a stud QB. So Alabama's offense should be absolutely nasty this year. I'm really hoping Calvin can just put up the big stat. Okay, then if we go to Auburn with Peyton, Peyton is going to be, so that's his wide receivers, decent, running backs good, and Peyton. Okay, so Peyton Manning did leave. So that is our first guy to actually leave to the NFL early. That's kind of unfortunate. Usually it's like 2 guys, maybe 3. If we look, okay, so we lost our boy Trevor Lawrence as well. Okay, that's not the best start for guys leaving early. We still have Lamar. So still have Lamar. We still have Barry Sanders in the backfield, so that 1-2 punch should be nasty at Florida. Basically no wide receivers, but a really good tight end. So they have basically a 3-man show on offense. They should be getting a ton of run. Okay, we also have Florida State. Tebow stayed. Tebow staying for his 4th year. This guy has a chance at the Heisman, chance to do some awesome stuff, but Peter Warrick left. Oh, so we were losing a little more guys than usual. Fresno State, they actually have a good wide receiver. Reggie Bush is still there, and a good quarterback. So honestly, Fresno State could make some noise this year with Reggie. Okay, if we go to Georgia, I hope none of the Georgia guys left. Okay, Herschel's still there. Cam is still there. Julio is still there. So they are loaded offensively. 399s at the 3-star positions with really good backups throughout as well. So this Georgia team is absolutely stacked. I'll be shocked if they are not, at like a 1-2 loss team or better. Okay, Indiana okay, Vince Young is gone, but Vince Young was honestly not very good through the whole sim. So yeah, we did lose a little bit more than past years, but what can you do? Okay, running back, AP still there. Jamar still there. What's their QB? QB's 92, so honestly, there's no reason Jamar and AP can't have really good final seasons. Okay, we go down to Michigan. Hopefully both our receivers back, but at least one. Yep, so they're both back. They have no other receivers on the team. They have a really good running back and honestly a really good QB. So yeah, there is no reason other than the fact they don't throw the ball that those guys can't have a good year. Go to the Pitt Panthers with Joe Burrow, and Joe left. Okay, so that's like maybe 5 guys have left so far. If we go to Penn State, I really hope. So they lost. No, Tavon is back, but they lost like their whole offense. I remember like their offense was stacked last year, but they're all seniors. They do have 2 good quarterbacks fighting it out. So it's basically going to be their QB and Tavon Austin. Do they even have a tight end? They have no tight end running the show, and they just have like basically nothing else on offense. And our guy, Bo Jackson, is gone. So we did have a few guys leave. It seems like the smaller school guys kind of left, which maybe makes sense. Like they didn't have a chance to compete for a natty or anything. Okay, Texas got Malik Murphy. We know they still have Saquon because he was a preseason All-American, and they have a 97 backup, and they have Randy Moss, who's their number 1 bar none wide receiver. So Texas, I got my eyes on you. Let's see you guys blow up. I'm pretty sure Vic is back because they are ranked. Yeah, they're ranked really highly. Vic, they have 3 really good quarterbacks, but obviously one can play. 2 decent running backs. 3 good receivers. And no tight end. So, honestly, Vic, let's fucking go, dude. Senior year, kill it. USC, I know LT is at least back. They have no QB, and they have 299 running backs. And just okay wide receivers. So Saquon and Ricky better just absolutely destroy this year. So I think we lost maybe 5 to 6 guys, but that is all right. Still a ton of our guys are back, and all the guys on the big schools except Peter Warrick, who are kind of competing for a national title and stuff like national championship stuff along those lines, are back. So, okay, we're going to sim to week 8, look at the polls, see where everyone sits, look at the stats, and then we'll find a few games later in the year. All right, here we are in week 9. Let's go look at the top 25. Hopefully our boys are doing good. So Bama's just a house. Florida State with Tebow right there. Georgia 1 loss, so they're still in the running, still in the hunt. LSU 1 loss. We'll take that. Penn State 4-2. Oh, Texas has to be my biggest letdown so far. 3-3 with those studs. Damn. Texas A&M 4-3. Florida 5-2. Michigan 4-2. So we have, Florida State, Alabama, and Georgia are kind of our guys in the running. I'm honestly cheering for Georgia just because they have 3 of our guys. I think it'd be sick to see them in a national title game this year. Jamarian Miller for Bama. He's leading the way for the Heisman. Okay, we're going to go quickly through the stats. I don't want this to take crazy long. We can go a little quicker too because we did have some guys leave. Receiving, Calvin finally has the #1 role, but not even blowing Law out of the water. 79 a game is good, not incredible. Okay, we don't need Clemson anymore or Auburn. They are both gone with their quarterbacks. Rushing, Barry 771, Lamar 465, 5 tutties. So 110 a game for Barry is really good. 66 for Lamar is nice. Passing, 151 ratings, really good for Lamar. 1,500 yards, 13 touchdowns, only 3 picks, 217 a game, plus his 60 on the ground. You know, really good start. Florida State, 175 rating for Tebow. 1,420 yards, 16 touchdowns, only 2 picks, about 240 a game. Then you add another 300 on the ground, 50 a game there. Tebow's having a great start. Doesn't have quite the talent around him. I'm honestly kind of surprised. If Warwick would have came back, they would have had a legit shot. I don't know if he has the playmakers to, you know, keep it up through the whole year. Okay, we look at Reggie, 795, 113 a game. Okay, that's what we want to see from our guy Reggie. Do they use him a receiver? Not really, but every time he touches, it's like 25 a game. Adding, you know, 19.8 yards per reception is insane. Reggie had a low-key, really good career at Fresno. Okay, Herschel Walker, 606, 1 a game, so they've only played 6 games, 600 yards, 232 for Cam, so I'm not using him a ton as a runner as much as some of the other guys, but 195 QB rating is huge. 1,200 yards, 13 touchdowns, 3 picks, 196 a game, so very efficient, also playing on the ground as well. Julio, 368. You know he's going to be their #1 receiver. They just don't throw the ball enough. So they have a 99 tight end, a 99 wide receiver, a 99 running back, and a 99 QB. I want to see this Georgia team. You know, Georgia, Alabama in the SEC final, please. Okay, we don't need Indiana anymore, so we'll go down to LSU. Receiving, Jamar Chase, 808. Okay, 115 a game. So he was rough his first 2 years. It just did not look like a good situation. And now all of a sudden he's blowing up. 850 for 121. So they just have a two-headed monster with Adrian Peterson. The Singleton is playing good. Adrian Peterson, Jamar Chase, they're getting the ball. Look, AP's averaging 8 yards a carry. 17.5 yards a reception for Jamar. So it is just a two-man show in Baton Rouge, and they are putting on a show. Okay, we go to Michigan. Not expecting a ton from our two guys. Percy Harvin somehow has 7 catches for 120 yards. 20 a game. I should have moved him to running back or something, honestly. Just for fun. For his senior year. Wow, that's disappointing. Just nothing. Don't give him the ball. What can you do? What can you do? Okay, so they just picked the wrong school. That is it. Okay, Joe Burrow at Pitt is gone. Tavon at Penn State. He should be getting just an insane amount of run. 878, 14 touchdowns. He's averaging 146 yards a game. 14 touchdowns. He's going to get over 20 touchdowns and 1,700 yards. I don't even know. Holy crap. That is crazy. So basically, Reynolds is actually playing good, and he's just he has over half his receiving yards, passing yards on the team. That is actually insane. No one else even gets the ball. That is dope. I love it. Okay, crazy. Okay, Bama, South Alabama with Bo, he's gone. Texas. Okay, Randy, 640. So they have 2 receivers. They're basically going to them every play. I'm cool with it. 6 touchdowns, 106 a game. Yeah, hell yeah. Randy, killing it. Barkley's basically doing the same on the ground. So this is similar to the LSU situation with the two-headed monster, but they seem to have a little more depth. Like this Jadon Blues in 97, and they have another good receiver in this Red. But for the most part, Malik Murphy playing really well. 165 rating, 1,600 yards, very good. Okay, A&M with Vic. And Vic, 140 QB ratings, good, 1,419 touchdowns, pretty good. But then he's also the team's leading rusher, 84 a game. Wow, so yeah, Vic is a one-man show at A&M, but playing very well. Then lastly, we have USC. Now, we don't care about their QB. It's all about their two-headed monster at running back. So Ricky, 660 and 455, 8 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns. Yeah, I mean, I just don't think their offense is as good this year as LT. LT's getting some run in the air as well, like their 4th reading receiver. This team they don't have a great quarterback this year, so they're not going to, it's kind of hard when it's all the 2 running backs. But, so there we go. That Tavon stuff is blowing my mind. Okay, I'm going to look through the top 25 here. And you know what? I think we can just sim to the conference championship weekend. I think we're going to be able to get Alabama, Georgia, which is, I want to see that. I know we've watched quite a bit of Georgia, but I want to see this Georgia Bulldogs team do something. They have 3 of our players. I think we can just go to that. All right, conference championship weekend. What do we got? Georgia, Alabama, even though Georgia has 3 losses, which is kind of annoying. Fresno State, 1 loss on the back of Reggie Bush. Florida State, 2 losses versus Miami. Cal versus Utah. Illinois versus Indiana without Vince Young, though. I mean, we watch it a lot, but it kind of sucks because Georgia, even if they win this, cannot make the national championship. But hey, we'll check this game out. Might as well. Ton of offense out there. I want to see this threesome one more time, so we'll give it a go. So that's where they sit. Yeah, Bama's offense just is better. They're not more talented, I don't think, but they just perform better. Georgia's defense is a little better. So this video, I know, is going to be a little longer than even usual, guys. This one's going to be over 2 hours, I can already tell. So we are gonna. I'm gonna be pretty quick with the sim here. Only if it's really close at the end will we actually hop in and watch. I don't know. Bama's just better than Georgia for whatever reason. 28-0 with the amount of talent Georgia has. 28-14, so they made it a little closer in the second quarter there. 38-21. Georgia is driving. They're inside the red zone, so we'll just check this out. Cam in shotgun, Herschel to his right, Julio at the bottom of the screen, actually in motion here, and they're going to read option with Julio on motion, then go downhill with Cam, but it gets stuffed. They score here. It's a 10-point game. I mean, it's doable, but not likely, especially because they can't stop Alabama. Little sprint out, drop it down to the fullback underneath. He gets hit pretty hard. 3rd and 9. Okay, here we go. We got Cam in shotgun. Herschel directly behind him. Drops back, scanning, fires it underneath, just short. I mean, they're going to go for this. So I'd like to see a little Herschel, Cam Newton read option. Use your 2 just battering rams here. This offense should never be stopped in the red zone. Just eat those 2 together. No, but they're going straight drop. Cam's going to tuck it, run, and Cam is going to score. He gets hit pretty hard as he goes into the end zone there. So there we go. Okay, so we're just going to sim the next possession here. Okay, they did get stopped. Okay, we'll watch it. We'll see what Cam can do. He's down 10 with 5 minutes left. This would be quite a comeback. They were never quite able to reach their potential, this Georgia team, but if they could win this SEC championship game, knock Bama out of title contention, that would do quite a lot for this Cam, Julio, Herschel Walker legacy. Here we go. Cam, little pistol action, Herschel behind him, Julio at the top of the screen. Drops back, little stretch to Herschel. Get downfield. He's got to get downhill. He's running too far to the sideline. 3rd and 1. Julio at the top of the screen, Herschel behind Cam. Cam straight drop. Fires it, nice little hitch underneath. Cam in shotgun, Herschel behind him. Little stretch to Herschel. Is he going to get the outside? Herschel just doesn't get his shoulders going downhill. He just runs too parallel to the line. I'd like to see like a deep shot to Julio here. I feel like we have watched a lot of Georgia this sim, but it was just cool because they have literally 3 of our guys, each at a different position, all stayed all 4 years. Oh my goodness, Herschel just got absolutely trucked. Okay, here it is, 4th and 4, game on the line. This will do it if they can't get this. Alabama will be undefeated, going to not undefeated, but they'll be going to another natty. Here we go, fires it, and it's picked off. Cam tries to force that in. It looked like he was trying to do a little cover 2 hole shot, and the corner steps underneath it. And that could basically be the final pass. Oh no, I guess he does have his bowl game, but that'll do it. Bama wins. throughout the sim, they just had Georgia's number. Georgia just couldn't make the plays with that offense. 499s at the 4 skill positions. And they just couldn't make the play against Bama that they needed. Let's look at the stats here. Cam, 151, 478, but he had 2 picks. The 2 picks killed him. Rushing, Herschel couldn't get it going. Cam didn't do much. Receiving, Julio actually didn't do much at all, but this Morissette guy, 200 yards. Turner had 122. Okay, and then if we check out Bama, Calvin, honestly, 78, okay. Law was kind of their big guy. Rushing, not much for Miller, but Sanders, this guy's just been a freak. Every time he plays, he's just unbelievable. Okay, there it is. Bama wins again. Just had Georgia's number. I'm sure if some Georgia fans are still this far in the video, they're just like, why? We had the best possible team ever and we couldn't beat Bama. Brutal. Okay, we are going to sim to bowl season. Then we're going to check out, hopefully we have a good bowl matchup to end this video. Then we're going to look at the final stats for the year, final career stats, and see which round each player gets drafted. So Nate Johnson wins the Heisman. A few Bama guys are right. That Trey Sanders, he's only like a 92, but his stats are always just insane. Texas is in the Natty. I just ruined it. Texas, Bama, we got 2 of our teams. Fuck yeah. Okay. Let's see what our other ones. So Fresno State had an amazing year with Reggie Bush. 11-2, 12th ranked team in the nation right now. Crazy. Michigan finished 9-3, good year. A&M 6-6 with Vic. Definitely disappointing. I don't think he had a ton of help around him, but I would have liked obviously a little more from him. Clemson, I mean, they lost our guy. 4 losses for Georgia, 2 against Bama, so you got it, whatever, but 5-4 in SEC play with that roster, kind of tough. They lose Peyton Manning, but Auburn still goes, has that good record. So Florida State with Tebow just missed out on the Natty. They are the 3 seed. Boise, Iowa State, not ours. South Alabama made a bowl game without Bo. Penn State took a huge step back offensively. They just lost all their firepower from last year. Still had 8 wins. But looked like Tavon Austin just had an incredible season if it kept going the second half. Florida, 4 losses. LSU just missed out on the Natty as well. So we had Texas, LSU, and Florida State all with only 2 losses that could have made it. But Texas gets it done with 3 losses. So they actually had more losses than Texas and LSU and made it. But I'm not going to complain. We got 2 of our teams in it. We have Calvin Johnson on Alabama. We have Randy Moss and Saquon Barkley on Texas. We are going to check this game out for sure, and we're going to try to watch a decent amount. So that's where they sit. Both really high-powered offenses. Alabama's was just a tick above, but Alabama has a much better defense. So that could be the difference. We will see. Ton of offensive firepower for both these teams. Should be a good one. I'm pretty pumped that we were able to get 2 of our teams in the sim in the finals. So. All right, so we're just going to sim through the first quarter here and we'll see where we're at. All right, 14-7 Texas. We got ourselves a game. Let's go to halftime. Wow, 21-7 Texas. We are going to go till the 4th quarter here. 28-10. Wow. So Bama is kind of getting it. They're kind of getting beat down and Texas has the ball again. 6-11. We're going to watch Texas here. They could basically end this game right here. They are in Alabama territory. Malik Murphy in the backfield. Saquon beside him. They also have Randy Moss on the field. I'm not even sure which number Randy Moss is. I think I did give him dread, so he might be at the top of the screen there. This is crazy. Alabama has been a horse for 3 years straight, and they look like they're going to go down to 3-loss Texas. There's Saquon! Busting through the middle. Look at that explosion as he gets through the line, puts his head down. He has 185 yards right now. So Saquon is putting on a show. I believe that is Randy Moss, number 82 at the top, but this looks like it is the Saquon Barkley show. A little speed option with Murphy. Oh my God, and Saquon, but Saquon does get pasted there. What an upset this would be. 3-loss Alabama would beat, or lose, sorry. 3-loss Texas would beat defending national champion Alabama. Crazy. Malik Murphy in in pistol, and he hands it off. This is the backup running at Jadon Blue. Really good run. It just does not look like Alabama can stop the run. And this is going to be what wins Texas the national championship. This is crazy. I was not expecting this. Okay, Randy Moss is at the bottom of the screen, number 82. Go to him. But no, they're running the ball, and Texas cannot stop them. Alabama cannot stop them. Crazy. Every time they hand the ball off, they are just getting 4, 5, 10, 12, 15 yards. Okay, they need 3 yards to absolutely ice this national championship. Saquon Barkley is back in the backfield with Murphy. Murphy looks a little tired. They're going to motion receiver, and they're going to Saquon, who punches it in, and that is it. Texas is gonna win the national championship. Wow. Okay, we're gonna go to the end of the game here. Crazy 42-17 final. Texas Longhorns take it. Saquon was definitely the MVP. I think he had over 200 yards. Crazy. Alabama could not stop the downhill Texas Longhorns offense. Okay, we're gonna look at the stats here. Oh, Trey Sanders, just okay. That bad pick at the end there, not what we were after. Miller actually had a good game, 112 yards. You'll take that. Calvin, 41, not much. Okay, if we go to Texas, they just really didn't even need to throw the ball. Randy, when they were throwing it, had a really good day, 72 yards, but 2 touchdowns through the air. Go to rushing. Saquon Barkley, 218 yards, 7.2 yards per carry, 4 touchdowns. Malik Murphy added 42 on the ground as well. They only passed for 192, but they didn't need it. Saquon Barkley and Randy Moss together at Texas. Texas is back. Texas is back. I mean, they lose their 2 best players now to the draft, but Texas is back as national champions. Wow. Okay. Crazy. So that is going to be basically it, guys. We're going to sim to the end of the bowl season. Then we are going to go look at the final stats for this year. We're going to look at All-Americans, final stats for this year, career stats, and then we're going to go to see where what round each player gets drafted in. Okay, we're going to look at the All-Americans real quick. None of our guy, not our guy, not our guy. Tavon is our only first-team All-American. Adrian Peterson is second team. So we got 2 All-Americans. Honestly, I thought we would have got more in the final year, but that is okay. Okay, I'm going to try to go through these quick because I know this video is just insanely long, but it is what it is. Okay, receiving. Calvin, 1,000 yards, was their second receiver. Law had a better year, honestly, but you know what? He won a natty. Played good, was never the super duper star we wanted, but still was very good through his 4 years. Okay, go to Florida. Rushing, Barry, 1,436 yards, 13 touchdowns, 110 a game, very good. Lamar, 12 touchdowns on the ground, another 59 a game, very good. Passing, 2,927, 5 touchdowns, 230 a game. Good end to his career for Lamar. Tebow, 188.9 QB rating, very good. 44 touchdown passes with only 5 picks. Oh, I wish Peter Work would have stuck around. They could have easily won the natty if Work stayed. 770 on the ground for Tebow as well with 6 touchdowns. Tebow, very, very good career. Reggie, 1,390. They went to their fullback a ton still. 17 touchdowns, 99 per game. Looks like they did throw him the ball a bit, but okay, no. Second half of the year, they basically didn't throw him the ball. And he's one of the best receiving backs ever, but that's the way it goes. Actually had a pretty good career there, and they actually had a great senior season. They had 11 wins. Okay, Herschel Walker, 1,400 yards. Really good. Cam, almost 600, 17 touchdowns for Herschel as well, over 100 a game. Passing, Cam, 184 QBRs, very good. 3,200 yards, 31 touchdowns, 5 INTs. Okay, go down to LSU. And Singleton, pretty good year for not being the biggest overall. Wow, look at the difference here. Okay, 193 attempts compared to 100. Oh, this is a QB, but still 180. He almost doubled them in yards because his yards per carry was so much better. 1,400 yards, 18 touchdowns, 109 a game. He was an All-American. Receiving, Jamar Chase, almost 1,200 yards, 13 touchdowns as well. Okay, we will go Michigan is our next. Yep, Michigan's our next on our list. Okay, Percy had a better second half. You remember the first half, he was basically doing nothing, still only 34 a game. I wish I would have thought to just move him to running back for his senior year. That would have been cool, actually. But I didn't even think of it. So that is okay. He could have just been in Stoke's spot, but there it is. So neither guy at Michigan had a great career, but what can you do? Okay, Pitt is gone. We're going to go to Penn State. I'm guessing these stats are going to blow us away. Tavon is last year. Okay, not as actually crazy as I thought. 1,300 yards, 23 touchdowns, went down. Before he was averaging 150 yards a game. So second half of the year, people started to key on him a lot more. They just didn't have, the other weapons around him. But, he like 1,300 yards, the next closest was 300. So he like quadrupled the next closest receiver. Okay, we're going to go down to the national champion, Texas Longhorns. They're two-headed monster in Randy Moss, 1,200 yards, 15 touchdowns, 96 a game. Saquon Barkley, 1,550, 17 touchdowns, 119 a game with a really good backup. Malik Murphy, national champion in his senior year, had a really good year. 41 touchdowns, only 6 picks. Texas is back. Okay, then we go to A&M. We have Michael Vick. Not a great QB rating, honestly. 34-11, okay. He did add just under 1,000 yards on the ground, but I just don't think he had the receiving talent around him this year to have an amazing year. Then we end it off at USC. Their 79 overall quarterback. The two-headed monster was honestly just okay. I honestly thought they would have been better, but I think the rest of their offense around him wasn't talented enough to really utilize them. LT, a little bit of added yardage through the air, but not a ton. Okay, now we're going to quickly look at their career stats. Now, I'm just going to sort by NCAA here because these guys were all played for 4 years. They should be right near the top of everything. So, who had the most passing yards out of our QBs? Cam Newton actually had the most passing yards. He did start all 4 years. Then Lamar, Tebow, Vick. But all these guys were within like 400 or 500 yards of each other. So interesting. Who had the most passing TVs? Actually, Michael Vick. Then Tebow, Cam, Lamar, kind of in that same area. Who out of our guys went through the most picks? I'm guessing, I was honestly going to say Vick. Yeah, then Lamar. Okay, so there it is. Completion percentage. I might not even... Can't really sort by that because our guys might not even be anywhere near that. So that's kind of their career stats there. We look at who had the most rushing yards. Barry Sanders, just behind this Pittman guy, but out of our guys, Barry Sanders, 4,900 yards. Reggie Bush just behind him at 48. Then AP and Barkley just behind them at 48. So basically those four had basically the same amount of yards. Between 48 to 4,900, but who had the best yards per carry out of them? 6.3, 5.9, 6.7, 6.4. So Saquon was a freaking beast at Texas. Okay, who had the most rushing touchdowns? Saquon, then Barry, then Reggie. Yards per, who had the most yards? Saquon had the most yards per game. So I would say Saquon was the best, had a great senior year, won the national championship. I'm giving him the title. Okay, if we look at receiving yards, Tavon Austin with a bullet. And I think he just was the best. And honestly, no one else is even that close. Randy's 1,400 yards behind him. So, and then Jamar's right there. So yeah, by far, Tavon was just the best. By far the most receiving touchdowns. Yeah, Tavon was the receiver MVP. Bar none. Okay, I want to quickly look at kick, punt, return. Maybe one of our guys was really good through the years. Yeah, none of our guys there. Punt returns. Yeah, none of our guys as well. So there it is. That is the final career stats. I think Saquon was the best running back. I think Tavon was the best receiver. QB, I don't know. There was a few guys. You could have kind of gave it to any of those four. Cam, Lamar, Tebow, kind of any of those. Okay, I gotta find a new job. We are gonna go to players leaving. This is where we can check out kind of what round each guy got drafted in, and then that is gonna wrap this up. Thank you guys. If you're still watching this far in, then you are an absolute trooper. Thank you for sticking with these videos. I know they're long. but I think they're cool. And okay, so here's where everyone got drafted. Tim Tebow round 1, Reggie Bush round 1, Cam, we don't care about that guy, Jamar, Saquon round 1, Randy Moss round 1, Calvin round 1. Who else we got? Julio is actually round 2 along with Herschel Walker and AP. Percy Harvin made it into your round 2 even though he had the worst stats ever. Lamar round 3, LT round 3, Ricky Williams round 3, Barry went undrafted and he had the most rushing yards and 99 overalls. Tavon Austin went undrafted along with Michael Vick. Okay, so obviously the drafting thing is kind of whatever. It's just kind of a cool thing to see. But apparently Michael Vick is undrafted, so he's going to be a street free agent. Let your team know they should sign Michael Vick. All right, that is it, boys. Thank you guys a ton for tuning in. There's going to be a little blurb at the bottom back here, but thank you a ton. Peace.
So what did you think of the sim? What sim should we do next? And if you like this, then check out this video right here where I make the same video but with the 15 best running backs of all time.